Welcome to Let Me Know How It Is, a pop culture podcast about animation, TV, movies, comics, and more. We're reviewing James Gunn's latest, Superman. I'm Zach Slater.
I'm Frank Melman.
And I'm Clifton.
This movie is still very fresh, out only a few days at the time of this recording, so we're giving you your spoiler warning here, because this conversation will spoil every single thing in the movie. Plot lines, Easter eggs, everything. So, if you want to be surprised and you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and pause, go watch it, and we'll be here when you get back. Superman was written and directed by James Gunn. The movie stars David Corenswet as the Man of Steel, Rachel Brosnahan as the intrepid reporter Lois Lane, and Nicolas Holt as the evil villainous Lex Luthor. Superman is currently playing in theaters. All right, so interestingly, this is the first time we are doing a review where we were all in the room together watching the thing.
Yes.
It's true. It is true. Zach took in a picture show.
Yes.
I did.
He actually got out to the cinema, which is a rare occurrence.
I saw it with you guys for a second time.
Right.
When you all went to the picture show.
Yes, you had seen it, 2 days before us?
Yes, I got to see an advanced screening of it, and then I wanted to go again, and you all were going, so I said, let's go back out and see Superman again. So
yeah.
So Frank went twice.
Yes.
That's a good sign.
Yes.
Right?
I would think so, yeah.
Yes. Well, no, it was fun. It was fun seeing it together and really hard not to just do this review like right there in the lobby afterward.
Yes, I jokingly told Clifton, I walked up to him and said, well, what do you think? And he walked right past me and said, save it for the show.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
That's a true story.
It is true.
It was hard. I mean, believe me, I've been really excited to do this episode because I can't wait to talk about it with you guys because we've talked. Clifton, you and I have not talked at all about it.
Right.
And Frank, you and I have talked very little.
Which is odd.
Very, very little. I mean, a little bit like, because we walked out of the theater together.
Right. Normally we would have been dissecting it as we were going up the aisle to get out of the theater. It would have started.
Right.
But no, I'd have to say I was very proud of us for not starting into talking about this movie as long as we had been anticipating seeing it in the first place.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And it is a very special occasion that we saw it all together.
Yes.
I've seen movies with Frank a handful of times.
Yes.
In recent years. I haven't seen a movie with Zach since before we started the podcast, probably.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a while.
Right.
But no, it was fun. It was fun seeing you guys.
Yeah.
It was great. We'll do it again, hopefully. Fantastic Four. I don't want to promise it, but I think we can make that happen.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. I'm dying to get into it.
Sure.
Let's start with the open. Clifton, I'll kick it to you.
It starts with the following text. 3 centuries ago, the first superpowered beings known as metahumans appeared on Earth, ushering in a new era of gods and monsters. 3 decades ago, an extraterrestrial baby was sent in a spacecraft to Earth and adopted by Kansas farmers. 3 years ago, the baby, now grown, announced himself as Superman, the most powerful metahuman of all. 3 weeks ago, Superman stopped the country of Baravia from invading Jaranpur, sparking controversy around the world. 3 hours ago, a metahuman called the Hammer of Baravia attacked Superman in the city of Metropolis. 3 minutes ago, Superman lost a battle for the first time. That sums up where we are in the movie so far, which opens on a snowy field, and we see a Superman fly and crater into the snow, bloodied and battered. He whistles for something, and we see snow being plowed quickly coming towards him, and reveals the dog that we know is Krypto.
Yes.
Krypto drags him back to the Fortress of Solitude, where Superman robots use Yellow Sun to heal him, patch him up, and send him back into the fight in Metropolis. And that is how the movie opens. A lot of quick exposition and a lot of action right off the bat, and now we're back in a fight.
We'll get into the text a little bit later on about what it means, but just to say, I was not expecting kind of a Star Wars
Crawl.
text open.
Right.
So I'm going to reference the trailer a few times here and there. In the trailer, you saw a lot of font that looked very familiar of like the Richard Donner stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was absolutely struck. Like, you could knock me over with a feather when they didn't have an opening credit sequence that looked like that. Like, that did not happen. And that blew me away. But I mean, like, as far as the shots and the action, like a lot of the trailer was right here in the first 20 seconds of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right?
no, they played this like scene straight in the theater sometime. I saw it in the theater as such before a movie, where I didn't know we were just watching the opening, minutes of the movie.
Right.
I thought they just picked a scene from somewhere in the movie. I didn't realize it would open already with Superman being bloodied and battered. So that was an interesting choice, even though, they just showed like that many minutes of the movie straightforward, and in some of the ahead of some movies I had seen in the theater.
Yeah, I was very surprised that was the opening scene after we got basically what it was pretty much the crawl for the crawl bit, which was fine.
Exposition crawl.
Yeah, I was like I didn't have a problem with it. I was surprised by like where it was trying to set up. I would think you wouldn't want to. I mean, I'm sure that at this point they have the whiteboard of all whiteboards to plan out what they're going to do with their timeline for the DCU. 300 years seemed a little tight for me to think that's how far back they go, because obviously we all know that characters go back further as well as forward in the DCU timeline. But yeah, I was very surprised that the opening bit was what we had seen in the little bit of the scene that was released, pretty much verbatim. I think there might have been a shot here, two or there, that was different, or another robot voice cameo was thrown in. But I think the idea, because a lot of people saw that opening bit, on online and other places, and thought, well, that's really weird that we're seeing Superman, beaten up somewhere in the movie.
Right.
And most people were like, took that as, it's, a lot of people who were already detractors of the movie were saying, well, it doesn't make sense that he's already beat up when, he's supposed to be the strongest superhero ever, blah, 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 blah. But I for one,
break.
I know. No, I know. I had someone today ask me what I thought of the movie if I saw it, and I was like, come on, of course I saw it. I saw it twice in IMAX and 3D. It was one of those things where they were like, well, Superman should, why is Superman getting beat up? And I said, well, obviously this is, if you've taken in as much Superman stuff, comics, TV, cartoons, blah, blah, blah. Surely I've seen Superman take a beating every now and then here and there for, I don't know how many years.
Mm.
It's not like it's something new. It's just newer to people who don't really take in as much of the stuff that we do.
Yeah. So we did a trailer reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I said then, and I'll repeat what I said, for that reaction, because I was commenting on how smart the trailer was to showing us Superman vulnerable, like right from the get-go.
Right.
Because it addresses the biggest complaint that I hear all the time about people who don't like Superman. It's because he's too powerful,
He's
yada,
too OP.
yada, yada. We know he's going to win. How do you hurt the guy? How is he in danger? Where are the stakes? Because you have this all-powerful being. And I'm like, right from the get-go, you show him, like not able to get to his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And with the help of his dog, he's able to get home. So the same thing goes here. I mean, right at the start of the movie, this is a Superman that gets hurt.
Sure.
And I'm here for it.
Well, I mean, to me, it made me think back to like Unlimited or the animated series, the Bruce Timm stuff. And that Superman, all the time was getting knocked around.
Yes.
But again, it's not, I mean, one of my favorite issues of Superman is the one with Superman fighting Luthor on the planet with the red sun, and Superman's got the black eye. So to me, again, the idea that Superman doesn't or can't take a punch, or if you even something like Superman versus Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even that, if you've ever seen that Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil oversized Treasury book,
mm-hmm.
you find out pretty quick that when it comes to actual like boxing, Muhammad Ali obviously had more skill than Superman. And Superman at the end of that looks pretty beat up. So, I mean, it's not, again, to people who take a lot of the stuff in like we do, I think it's one of those things where a vulnerable Superman is not a crazy removed notion of what Superman should be.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. There are lots of people who say, well, he can't be beat up, but he's also too powerful. He's too OP.
Right.
And therefore he's boring. But I thought, again, the idea that it's his first real loss was interesting.
Right.
Because that puts a really fine point on how he's, because he's been around for 3 years.
Yeah.
So has it all just been like getting cats out of trees and like pulling bad guys trying to flee in a harbor boat like in the 78 movie and him dropping them off at the police station?
Right,
it's just been really easy. But then I saw today that there's a prequel book that he fights somebody else that's not like, it's not a pushover. So I kind of was surprised that was already dealt with in that book. And I don't know if that's if they're taking the same approach that some of the Marvel stuff does, that if it's in the MCU nebulously, it fits into everything.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the TV shows and the animated series stuff, all that stuff, and by virtue of the fact that they're using the same voice actors for the same real live actors is the same. But again, it was the first place I'd heard about this prequel book. I didn't even know existed before I looked around today.
Right.
Yeah, it does make sense. Obviously, as we know from the opening crawl, as we know from the movie later, there are other metahumans around. So I guess he'd gone up against some, but just ended up winning.
Right.
Even if it wasn't a piece of cake all the way along.
Yeah.
This is the first one he didn't win.
Right.
I'm here for this. I'm going to show you where my bias is showing. The Bruce Timm Superman the Animated Series is basically what made me a huge fan of Superman.
Sure.
So that's kind of where I fell in love with the character, and we said it, and that show comes up with Subfrequency, and one thing that we note in there is Superman gets hurt in that show a lot, and Superman gets hurt in that show a lot without the use of kryptonite, without the use of magic, and without the use of a red sun all the time. Like, he just gets hurt by the nature of, like, he's fighting somebody really strong. So that made this really, really easy to swallow for me.
Yep, me too.
But then, so we got Krypto, and then we get to the Fortress, and very quickly with the robots, it's like there's some strong, like, Silver Age comic, muscles being flexed here. And what I dig about the Fortress scene is when they basically like nurse him back to health by giving him yellow sun. It's like an apparatus that they have with like different like lenses in front of it, right? Like it's a big like Grant Morrison-y looking machine.
Right.
And what I like is that like he's bombarded with it and kind of in pain from it. And what that says to me too is that like he can't just lay there and take in the yellow sun, because it wouldn't bring him in, it wouldn't bring him to strength as quickly as this thing does. That does it in a couple of seconds, right?
Yeah, it just needed a Silver Age name. That was the only thing I thought from that scene, was it needs to be like the solar healer something or other, that you would have gotten, a writer in the Silver Age of the 60s would have gone the extra mile to explain in the name what it does for Superman. But yeah, I thought, it was not quite like a Kirby-esque device, but definitely was the Silver Agey stuff.
Yeah.
It was nice to see the robots with no explanation.
Mm-hmm.
It goes further to set up the world of this movie where, it comes up a lot where we get something and you could stop and ask why or how, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? It's there.
Right.
It's there. I'm going with it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was a point of that. Because, we are familiar with the Superman robots from animation, from All-Star Superman comics, from old Silver Age Superman comics. It's just a thing. He's got Superman robots in the Fortress of Solitude. It's a thing.
Yeah.
But it's not a thing we've seen in any of the movie iterations so far. And I think it just shows like they're there. Like everyone's fine with that. I'm like, you just go with it. It works.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I liked about this overall was, and I can't remember who I talked to. It might have been one of you. It might have been Zach. It might have been Tommy. Was just the idea of how it felt very much like you picked up a comic in the middle of a run, and you just sort of, like you said, you just got to go with what you're given, and not everything's going to be explained to you, which I kind of liked. But it felt very much, it was definitely that feeling to me of like a stack of random books that I'm like, oh, this is Superman. I like Superman. What's going on here?
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like you just picked up Superman issue 243.
Right. Yep. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I picked it up at random and I'm like, I'm flipping through it. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is, all this stuff going on in the Superman comic. And I don't necessarily know every issue that's led up to this point, like from Action 1 to this 243. But I'm here and like Clifton was just saying, you kind of accept where it is. and that these things happen, and there's a little, there might be a little bit of exposition here, stuff here and there, but not like hitting you over the head. There's no editor's note. There's no chance to pop out and like go to the internet and figure out what's going on with all this. But I like that feeling. I thought it was very smart to do it that way.
Right.
Rather than get bogged down in, spoon feeding every single bit to the audience. Kind of like that feeling.
Yeah. And some of it could be interesting, but some of it may very, very well like not be.
Right.
Too, to have to waste time with it. I think it's a good call to just kind of like come in the middle of things.
Yeah. Or same things like catching a random episode too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, what do we think of Krypto?
Well, how can you not love a dog in a cape that flies?
Right.
Right. If you like dogs at all,
right.
One thing I like was I didn't know when I first heard Krypto was in it, I was excited because I'm a Krypto mark. I love Krypto. I didn't know whether we were getting the kind of like thought balloon intelligent Krypto that isn't quite so much a dog as an intelligent being that happens to be a dog with Superman's powers.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I like the fact that James Gunn decided to make Krypto a dog.
Right.
Yeah.
Very much a dog that not a good one, not a very good one. That's what he says. but no, I thought that made more sense than trying to do the kind of sometimes Silver Age take, sometimes later take of Krypto's far more intelligent than we know. Right.
Right.
But I think it works great. I think what I know from stuff that I looked at and what people really liked about it was Krypto, and I thought that was really strange to me again because in my mind Krypto's been around forever.
Right.
In the comics.
Yeah.
I mean, we had an animated series for Krypto, right?
Yeah.
At one point.
And Krypto had been getting some traction because Krypto shows up in Titans. A version of Krypto shows up in the show Titans.
I thought there was one in Smallville, but like they just called him that, but it wasn't like the typical Krypto that we know.
Right. I think there was. Yeah, I think there is a dog, but it's not the super dog. I don't remember for sure. It's been a long time since I've seen Smallville. But in Titans, though, it is a super dog that comes out of the. In that one, it comes out of the same lab as Superboy.
Okay.
So that was the connection. But it is super powered.
Right.
Okay. So he has been getting traction in media in recent years.
I feel like too in the last 20 years in the books, like he pops up with a lot more frequency than he did in the prior 20 years, right? I feel like in the 90s.
Well, yeah, everything Silver Age had to die in the 90s.
Yeah. I feel like it was illegal to do something with Krypto.
Well, out of what is it? Out of Crisis and Byrne's reboot, Man of Steel, there was pretty much an edict, a mandate that like that Kal-El is the sole survivor. There is no cousin Kara, there is no Krypto, no Beppo the super monkey. All that stuff has to go away because he's it. It's kind of like you can't be the last son of Krypton if there's a menagerie and your cousin and the Phantom Zone villains and all that stuff can't be if he's supposed to be the last one.
Yeah. But I want to say, I think like starting around like kind of like Jeff Johns' work.
Could be.
The character on,
wouldn't be surprised.
On DC, I want to say like Infinite Crisis. Like he started popping up with a lot more frequency, like here and there.
Right.
So it was nice. I do think, I don't want to say that Krypto is the heart and soul of the movie, but he's a big part of it.
Right.
And it is a slightly different take, I want to say.
Yeah.
Krypto is typically depicted as like a good dog, like Lassie.
Sure.
Listens all the time and is pretty well behaved. And this dog is just a little bit more rambunctious. He's
a super powered menace.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Reminds me a lot of my dog.
He's unruly, right? Is that what the robots say? He's unruly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Which he doesn't have like bad intentions usually, but it's like, but I do feel like that a lot of people are gonna see their dog in this dog.
Yes.
In the way he acts.
Yep.
Which is nice. I mean, it does make it be after on the other side of it now, where we have Krypto in a movie, it does make me look back and be like, well, why it doesn't seem as daring as it should, as I guess people thought it would be.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, duh, of course. Millions of people have dogs. Like, this is a way in.
Yes.
For so many people to have some, identifiability with something.
Yep.
Superman here, you know?
Yeah.
Going back to you saying that Krypto kind of being the heart, they do hang on that a little bit later in the film. When Clark does say like he's just alone and he's out there and scared.
Yeah.
And it's at that point in the film, Clark talking about himself and Clark talking about the dog. So it is kind of like a symbolic heart of the film all throughout.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent point. Excellent. So, all right, shall we move on to Superman and Steel?
Yes.
Little bit of behind the curtain here. This is also the first time like we're reviewing something that we didn't have access to like rewatch a bunch of times. So just kind of like putting it out there that we're kind of going about this a little bit of a different way. We're going to go through it like through characters instead of typically what we would do is we would just like give you a summary of scene by scene, you know, this is what happened, and then we would talk about it, and this is what happened. Right. And we're not doing that so much in this one just because we couldn't stop and
analyze,
jot down and jot down what happened, which is typically what we would do in the past. So we'll analyze this through character and we'll get to plot that way. So Superman, thoughts? This is a new actor playing him for the first time. What did we think? How did he do?
I don't really know him from anything else.
Okay.
Does anyone else know him from?
Yes.
Okay.
He was in the Netflix series Hollywood.
Okay.
Back in 2020, I believe it was kind of a like Elseworlds period show about a Hollywood that wasn't really like kind of a fairy tale version of Hollywood.
Okay.
Not exactly the Hollywood we got, like an alternate history Hollywood.
Okay.
He was good in that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I know him from.
After that, he was in Ty West's horror film Pearl, which was the sequel to Triple X.
Right.
Starring Mia Goth was his co-star in Pearl. That he plays kind of it's that like World War II set, and he plays a guy not in World War II who's peddling smut around around the home front.
Interesting. All right.
It's a very interesting character. He's very good in that again. And then more recently, he was in Twisters. He was kind of a antagonist in Twisters last year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
With Glenn Powell and Anthony Ramos and Daisy Edgar Jones.
Did he have his polo shirt flipped up with the collar and
pretty much sunglasses on all the time? Yeah,
okay.
yeah. He was like a Twister antagonist, like a business guy antagonist.
Okay.
Yeah, baseball cap a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So that's what he had been in. But it's funny because like in our preview when we talked about our expectations on the movie coming up, and I mentioned like I had seen online poll for this guy to become Superman like years ago, like before James Gunn was ever announced as rebooting this stuff.
Oh, wow.
And I went back and did a search online, and like the earliest stuff I could find in a search was 2019. In 2019, they were like he was talking about being Superman, like it's how like a role he'd like.
Right.
And people online were saying this guy has to be Superman. So it's funny. And I had not seen him in anything by 2019.
Right.
I didn't see Hollywood until a year or so later.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, I saw Hollywood during COVID. Yeah, like early during COVID. But, you know, my sense of it was, judging from the trailers, and I'm like, oh, I think this guy could be really good. You know, he's a big guy, naturally. like he's 6'4" and stuff. So like, he's got the physical side of it down. But what did you guys think? What did you think of the performance, the take?
Oh, no, I think he nailed it. I think he nailed it every step of the way.
I didn't have any issues with him at all. I got to be honest. It's one of those where I thought that was obviously he's the marquee character. He's the one that's in this thing for the majority of the time. I thought both his, what little we got of Clark was great. I thought that little bits were good. I think the scene in particular where he and Lois have the interview, that's a tough scene to get right, I think. I think it was directed really well, but I also think the interplay between the two of them was great. And I think he goes through quite a range of emotions in that scene. Right. And it doesn't feel forced.
Yeah. Nope.
It doesn't feel like he's acting. It feels like he's genuinely a person who kind of got roped into. I love the fact that he doesn't realize Lois is going to not give him, softball question. She's not going to be Lois with him. I'm like, really, dude? You don't know your own, You know what she's capable of. She's an incredibly
Right.
capable woman. Why would you not think that she's going to come at you?
Right.
Because she's, interviewing Superman. And she also, I love the fact that her character brings up the fact that it's an ethical dilemma. Again, talking to Tommy's like, that's like Spider-Man stuff. The idea that you're taking pictures of yourself or interviewing yourself. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's a debate
Right.
we've had before in the comic shop, was which is worse. Because again, because there's been instances before where it's either Lois interviewing Superman for the first time and then giving him the name, like kind of, and again in Superman 78 and other places.
Yeah.
Or it's one of the things where they kind of have a competition and Clark scoops her when really he's having a conversation with himself.
Right.
It's been different ways throughout the years.
Yeah. And in some versions, that's the interview that gets Clark hired at the Daily
Sometimes,
Planet.
yeah, that's true.
He's like, I managed to pull an interview with Superman, and it's him.
Right.
So
Right.
obviously,
Right. So yeah, that whole thing. But no, I thought he was terrific. I liked him in the no pun intended. I liked him in all the stuff I'd seen in the trailer. I thought, well, this is really good stuff. And then like I said, the scene where they finally they have the interview. But to me, it's, throughout the thing, he's genuine. And again, much like I think we talked about this maybe, was the idea that much like Chris Evans is Captain America, right? You have to have somebody who's earnest and honest and forthright without it being hokey.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Chris Evans had a real, like when I saw him in First Avenger, I'm like, well, this is good. We have our Captain America. We're set. And that guy was solid from beginning to end of his being Captain America. I would say we all probably agree.
Yeah.
With Corenswet, I for one thought he was just like all the aw shuck stuff was great. All of the stuff with him, like talking with Lois was great. Interacting with people on the planet. I mean, all the other heroes he has to interact with, like when he tells Guy to back off, that worked for me. I didn't think that was nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough to do because he's Superman. So, sometimes they don't want to let Superman, be kind of aggressive.
Right.
But I think
kind of raw, have raw emotion.
Yeah, raw emotion is not always his bag. But I thought, like, in the moment where there were two moments in particular. One is a speech with Lex, when he basically gives like the powerful speech of like, no, this is who I am. I'm I get scared, I screw up. That whole speech that got me both times. Because it's a great moment, and again, I think he nails it. And the other one is
at the end of the movie,
right near the end. And the other one is near the end of the movie when they're having the fight. When he's having the fight and trying to beat Ultraman.
Mm-hmm.
He says when the Raptors show up, when the guys from Planet Watch show up for basically Luthor's goons in power suits, and they're like, when he says to them basically, good luck with that. Like, it's a moment again, we don't always get Superman like when they're going to basically try to take on Superman and he's like, nah, yeah, good luck with that, trying to kill me. Is one of those things where we don't always get that because they don't want to let Superman be kind of a little bit cocky.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also the idea of like, no, he's still Superman. It's not like you're gonna just easily take him out. I thought that was a nice moment too, because again, that line in somebody else who doesn't understand the moment wouldn't have delivered it as well.
Right. What did I say to you at the end of the movie?
That movie does a lot.
That was the first thing out of my mouth. I said the movie does a lot.
Right.
The second thing I said to you is like, he nailed it.
Right.
Like, he's perfect. He's absolutely perfect for it. Like, he crushed it, I think.
Well, I think again, what little we allowed ourselves to talk about it was unequivocally across the board, because we saw each other this weekend as well, was just the idea of whatever comes next, they have Superman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like whatever they build around this guy, Superman's in good hands. We don't have to worry about Superman. It's like, okay, God, they're good. They got Superman. Like, this guy understands Superman. James Gunn understands Superman. We're good for from this point on to build wherever it goes, whatever they decide to build to.
It's interesting that you bring up Chris Evans, because there is some similarity here in the sense that I remember when Chris Evans was cast as Cap.
Right.
He was saying that he found inspiration in like a person he knew.
Okay.
He never like named who it was or anything like that, but he said like, yeah, like this person I know is the inspiration for Cap.
Mm-hmm.
Where, he's just like, salt of the earth guy, like, the guy that you would want in a jam always. And he always comes through for you. Right. Corenswet said kind of the same thing. that like he based a lot of it, like a lot of his inspiration came from his brother-in-law,
Okay.
who was also like a big. He said his brother-in-law is like 6'8",
Okay.
right? And so he's like this big, like powerful presence that if you saw him, you would be a little uneasy just because like the guy takes up so much space. You can't avoid seeing him, right? But he's one of those like wouldn't harm a fly, like tries not to be in the way, and in the way, and in the mean, and in doing so is kind of more in the way, right? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And he's like, and that was just sort of like his inspiration. Like that was sort of the dynamic there. Like he's a big guy, he's got all these powers, can easily be like really, really scary, can really be off-putting, and he just like wants to do the right thing, and he wants to be helpful. And like you're right. I think that interview scene is very tricky as an actor because he's supposed to be getting upset. So how does he get upset and have it not be you know, big and scary and kind of jerky and stuff like that? And it's like it's all genuine with him. And I think like that's the trick. That's always been the trick for Superman. Is like it doesn't need a take. It doesn't need a like, well, how do we do this? And it's just like you just do it genuinely. And that's it. This is a guy that believes truth and justice. That's it.
Yep.
That's the trick. Right? And that's always been my opinion of it. The scene for me that does a lot of lifting is the kaiju stuff.
Yeah.
The fact that he's like trying like really, really hard to save the city and save all the people around it while not hurting this thing. Right?
Yep.
Because he's like, this thing, you know, like, I don't know where this thing came from. It's alive. Like, I don't want to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it does strike me as like the person who doesn't want to kill a fly, who wants to like trap the fly and let it loose. Right.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, color me corny, but that stuff like hits me, like gets to me. You know? I also really, really dug the bit, and it's kind of an anchor of the whole movie for me. I like the bit where he and Lois are talking about like bands. Like, cause Lois was in the punk rock and Clark says like, well, I was in the punk rock too. He thinks he was in the punk rock. Right. And that's kind of the dynamic of that scene is Lois is kind of like poking at him going like, you don't know anything about punk rock. Right. And then he gets into it and he's like, you know, like, she's like, you're too good. You're too pure. You're too happy. You're too right.
Oh yeah.
You're too nice to be into punk rock. And his remark is like, well, maybe that's the real punk rock.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it kind of is. Like, it's kind of unpopular to be that now. And it's not cool. And I just like that he's
hip to be square.
He's happily the square.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing about it. Like the other thing I liked about the take was just that he knows who he is and he's not willing to compromise who he is. I mean, obviously his world gets rocked, and that's part of it. That's a big part of this movie too, is that what he thinks is, you know, what he thinks is his you know, anchoring point, or the thing that keeps him straight and narrow is tested. But just the fact that this is, you know, there's a very, I mean, granted, I mean, you could argue that Clark is the whole thing of like who's Clark and who's Superman and the whole thing.
Right.
And we've touched on that before. What we, you know, what generally what, and I say I mean, I always can't speak for Clifton, but I think yours and mine is that he's definitely more Clark than he is Superman whether he's wearing the suit or wearing the glasses, right? But I think it's one of those things where he just is okay in his own skin. Yeah. You know? I mean, I'm sure obviously there is the feelings of like Clifton was saying earlier, there's the feelings of loss and the feelings of being alone and not knowing what, you know, the question of what if, you know, had things been different, had I not, you know, Krypton not exploded and not been put in the rocket, all that stuff, how different life would have been for him. But I think that he is very much okay with who he is and being kind of a goofball.
Yeah.
Right.
I think in that interview scene too, I think one of the endearing things in that bit is she's recording the scene. She's got like a digital recorder, and he can't work it. Yeah,
like, that's great. No, that's a great bit. It's a great bit.
Yeah, he gets flustered and he's not able to like start and stop it. And and it does call back to like when you see Ma and Pa for the first time and they call him. No, and they're also they're
you're right.
Older parents.
Right.
who don't really know how to work their phones.
Well, the other thing is he's from a technologically advanced civilization. He flew there in a rocket, and he's like, he gets mad, like gets like upset. It's like, make it stop.
Right. It has Superman robots.
Right, exactly, right. He literally has Superman robots. Yes, but
just can't press the button.
Right.
So you brought up like Clark or Superman and everything, and for my point of view, I'm curious what you guys think, but for my point of view is I don't remember a Superman movie where I think the lines got so blurred between the two of them. You know, like I'm thinking of like those moments of Clark in the glasses doing the Christopher Reeve kind of bumbling thing, and Clark in the glasses appears, I don't want to say less than any other movie, because like he doesn't appear in the Henry Cavill one like at all until the end of the movie.
Right.
But that's like him just discovering the glasses and doing that for the first time.
Right.
This is like Clark's been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah.
And we see him in glasses like very little.
Right. Well, but part of that is also the fact that we kind of hit the warp speed or the warp pad on the relationship too. Because normally that is the whole thing of like, well, you know, he doesn't, you know, we don't notice that he looks like Superman. Although I think that this is one of the better times that they did trying to hide, not the Christopher Reeve's physical, like that whole scene with Lois in Superman 78, where he changes his posture and basically, you know, goes from being like shrunken down to being much bigger.
Right.
Or in All-Star Superman, where he's kind of like,
where Frank Quitely draws essentially that.
Where he looks like a much doughier Clark Kent than the fully standing Superman.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where when you have that, like just like from the hair and stuff, I think that they did a nice job of looking at it, and it's not overly bumbling Clark either, right?
No.
But I do think that I agree with you. A lot of the moments we have as him being Clark, he's in costume.
Yeah.
And I think by necessity, the fact that he doesn't have a lot of like FaceTime as Clark Kent per se, again goes back to the idea that no, he's pretty much Clark most of the time.
Right.
He's in costume a lot in this movie.
And also, I think, you were talking about like the warp speed on things. The warp speed hitting the relationship with Lois. They're already dating 3 months before we start.
Right.
And like they give us the play a little bit, the Daily Planet play of like him saying he just interviewed Superman after the fight. And they're like, really? Like right after the fight, you interviewed him.
Right.
That was fast.
Yes.
And then we find out, like it's all like it's a double play. Like,
yeah.
And then later we find out even it's not, but like later, we find out they're not fooling anybody. Nobody's fooling anybody here about anything. Right. But we do hit the warp speed on that. So it does blur the line where now we've got a Lois that knows Clark is Superman before we do, like before we're introduced to this, this setting, before we're introduced to this situation. And I think that does help blur the line because now there's no, like, he doesn't have to, be hiding anything from the most important people in the movie, which are, Lois and even the other heroes. Right. We find out later because he's apparently too trusting to everybody.
Right.
But so there's no reason. He doesn't need to build a wall between Superman and Clark. He is just who he is.
Right. And there's also the thing that's interesting about it is that it gives him an early sounding board in the movie that isn't Ma and Pa.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Because he can basically, again, he could be himself with her. Yeah. And doesn't have to be, there's no pretending with her that he's not, Superman, obviously. Which I thought was interesting because again, I thought, when I look, thinking back on when we did our initial take from the trailer, my take was the thought, and again, when you said to me when we got to the end of the movie was, it does a lot. I remember saying at the time, this movie has to be set over a good length of time.
Right.
Because there's just so much going on in the trailer. And I'm like, just from spacing this out. But really, I was wrong. Yeah. Because it doesn't. Things happen at a breakneck speed. And again, that was my other thought was, well, maybe, we're just going to have, like we talked a little bit earlier, was this is just Superman's life.
Yeah.
The never ending battle. Literally, we saw it in this movie. Right. It is literally one thing after the other that Superman's got to deal with.
So much so that like the Sun Eater is in the background.
Yeah, right.
Which truly I thought might have been the big plot of the movie.
I did too. Thought it might have been.
And it's just and that scene is literally like oh, the Justice Gang got it. Like they're fine.
Right.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like
yeah, when we done our episodes, our preview episodes and our looking ahead episodes, we had speculated that this would be episodic, like All-Star Superman, where it happens in chunks. There's time gaps between chunks. All-Star takes place over about a year or so, if I remember right. I can't remember exactly. It's hard to tell, but it takes place over time where we get like in-depth story, jump to the next one. It's been a little while. And we speculated. We were speculating based on how much we were seeing in the trailer. It's just all like kaiju, power suit, like war, all of it. We're like, I can't just be like one day.
No.
And yeah, we were wrong there. And that does go back to where I touched on a little bit earlier about like it's compressed storytelling. It's very compressed storytelling. Like the kaiju. It's a baby kaiju. The next day it's a giant Godzilla. Why? How?
Yeah.
Who cares? It just is. How did Lex make this thing? Who cares? It just is. He can do it.
Right.
He can whip this thing out of a box whenever he needs to. It's fine. And it is so Silver Age in that story where like, you know, an old 22 page, well, I guess they were probably like 30 pages, 32 pages back then. Silver Age comics would have all that stuff happening. I mean, you'd have like 8 separate stories where that much stuff happened in each 8-page story.
Yeah.
So it is very much, again, drawing from the Silver Age roots of Superman.
And also, and we'll move on after this, but I mean, the 3 creators that kind of hit me in the face as far as inspiration was Morrison, Grant Morrison, it was Alan Moore and Jack Kirby. And what all 3 of them have in common is that they're all writers with big imaginations, and all of them kind of have in their work moments where they introduce something that will easily be in another writer's hands 12 issues worth of story. Right? And this thing will just be a thing in 3 panels.
Right.
And that's it. And that's and that's the feeling that movie gave me a lot. Like you said, like, here's the kaiju. And it's just kind of like an episode in the movie.
Right.
And like you said, like, where'd it come from? Who cares? There it is. There's more story to it, probably, if you wanted to dwell on it. Or not.
Right.
You know,
oh, sure.
Here it is. And that was kind of the case with like a lot of the stuff in this movie that I do understand. And I do think that may make people feel a certain way about it. Who don't, you know, haven't read the stuff that we've read.
Right.
Yeah. So we got a Superman. That's
Yes.
what I'll say. Let's move on to Lois.
Okay.
So I had high hopes for Rachel Brosnahan as Lois. I think she's just one of those that she just looks like the character. And I do, and it was another one. I do think that she knocked it out of the park too with what she had.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I don't want to put words in your guys' mouth, but I just like, you know, I noticed that like in thinking up the show, like my notes for her were really, really kind of sparse. And it is one of those things that I am thinking about, like, well, she really, I don't want to say she doesn't have anything to do, but she has less to do than other iterations of Lois than we've seen. I'm not saying good or bad or anything like that, but like we said, the movie does a lot.
Right.
You know?
I mean, she still does get a fair amount. She goes on more adventures than we often see her go on. Like, she goes to a pocket dimension.
Very true. Yeah.
I was going to say I felt like she had more to do.
Okay. Interesting. Okay,
I felt
go
like,
with that.
I mean, Lois has had, you know, gone through iterations just like Superman. And it felt very much to me the idea, like, the most thing that was the most recent thing I could think of was Peter Tomasi's Superman, right? Where Lois, while she wouldn't directly like fight, let's just say Metallo, she would jump into a vehicle and go do something to help out John, her son, or Clark in the midst of something that was going on in the book. Because again, I've said it before in other episodes of the podcast that it's very much, that book was very much Superman family, right? It was a family affair when things were going on with Clark or Superman or whatever. And I felt like Clifton was saying, that the fact that she had, you know, she goes to a pocket dimension. She fires up Mr. T's, you know, it's intuitive. She fires Mr. T's T-show.
Yeah.
She when the Injustice Gang was basically like going back to reading the paper, she's like, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to go save Superman, right?
Yeah.
So I think that whole part of it is to me, I thought was pretty interesting. The fact that Gunn has no problem putting her in the midst of stuff, even though she has no powers, but she's Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Right.
And we, like I said, the scene with the interview was great. Right. The other thing is she's flying the T-ship and she's writing an article. She's dictating an article to Jimmy and she's flying the ship. That's why I was
really
like,
that part.
That's a great bit. She's doing all this stuff and it doesn't feel, there's no feeling of like, well, she wouldn't be able to. No, it's Lois. She'd be able to do that.
Yep. All
that stuff is great. I think all that stuff works really, really well. I thought she was great as Lois. Again, it's one of the things where I'd watched Superman 78's all over the HBOs.
Yeah,
right
it
now.
is.
So I've caught most of it. Like I watched in chunks. I've watched, some of my favorite scenes as well as just watching stuff I hadn't watched in forever. And again, I love Margot Kidder. She was great Lois Lane, but it was made in a different time.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those things where I just thought I thought she was great. I really did think she did, much as I think we got Lois locked in as well with Superman.
Yeah.
So,
I do too.
So I think we could, whatever comes next with her is pretty, should be just as great.
You brought up Margot Kidder, and one of the things I love about that take in the Christopher Reeve is that Lois needs help spelling. She's always asking like how many T's and you know, and this word, that word, and I love that bit.
That is a good bit.
It made it a time before spell check and everything.
Right.
But I mean that's I'm just using that as a frame of reference for stuff we get into later, where it's like this movie, like James Gunn, I feel like, and I see Superman exactly the same way 9 out of 10 times.
Okay.
Right. And there's every once in a while, there's some bit about the character that I like that kind of didn't make it into this movie or went another way. And I'm fine with it. Like, I mean, like we just see like so much of it exactly the same, but that was like one, that was one where it is a little thing, but like it's fun. And that's also kind of like popped up in other things too. Like I've noticed that a lot more writers in the comics put those bits in there. Like the spelling bits and stuff. And so I'm just using that as a preview for when we get down the line with other things. Clifton, let's do Jimmy.
All right.
Jimmy, I know, is one of your favorite characters.
He is.
Yeah. I'll put a quarter in and go.
You like Jimmy like some people like Batman.
Right. That's true. I do love Jimmy Olsen.
I know.
And I do. I'm actually a big fan of Skyler Gisondo, the actor who plays Jimmy Olsen.
I am too.
He was in. I mentioned before. He was in the video game The Quarry a few years ago. You can play. It's a horror video game where it's very horror movie story, like follow the story, kind of choose your own adventure video game.
Okay.
The characters in the game, their likenesses are based on the actors who portrayed them. So it's really like you're watching a movie, just kind of a computer animated version of all of them. And he's in it. Justice Smith is in it. Ariel Winter from Modern Family. It's got a really good cast in that game, but he's in that. I like it a lot. I think he's really good in that. I love playing his character. He was in a Christmas movie that I really liked back in 2019 called Feast of the Seven Fishes. It's like a coming of age story where he's like in an Italian American family in like Pennsylvania coal country, kind of blue collar, and does the Seven Fishes feast. He's very good in that too. It's Christmas and coming of age, and me and Christmas movies. So
right.
When he got cast, I was like, okay, I'm excited about that. I like him a lot. I like Jimmy Olsen a lot. And the thing that there's just something very simple that I think now comes across to everybody in this movie is that Jimmy Olsen is cool.
Yeah.
like that's it. Like, yeah. This was as Jimmy Olsen as you get in the comics, minus the bow tie, which I do have a question to Zach with
freckles.
Yeah. Like the red hair, the freckles.
Yeah.
Like he's like Jimmy Olsen's just cool. And it came across in this version of him. Even to where Lois is like, how do you do it? when she finds out, like, this girl's obsessed with Jimmy. And she's like, like, how?
Right.
But like Jimmy Olsen's cool. Like that's just what he is. He's
that's the bit that I wrote in my notes and you Seinfeld watchers will get the reference here, but I wrote Jimmy has the Kavorka, which from a Seinfeld episode means lure of the animal. It's the shtick there is that Kramer has the Kavorka and women just kind of like swoon over him. Right. And that's very much to take here with Jimmy because there's Tessmacher, which we will get into later. But there's also there's a cutaway just like random staff at the Planet.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like he looked at me. And it is one of those things that like Clifton, you said Jimmy's cool.
Right.
I paint it this way a little bit. I agree. I paint it this way that it's like if you were somebody in Metropolis who doesn't have any interaction with Lois Lane or Superman or anything like that, Jimmy has the most interesting life of anybody in the city.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Right. Like if you're Superman's pal, like you're going to be confident.
Yeah.
Like you got some stuff going for you.
And so for that, I sort of want to shield it and defend it for people who are going to be like, they made Jimmy a ladies' man? Like, what the hell? Like, there's kind of precedent for it, right? There's kind of precedent for it. This isn't out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was interesting because I thought the younger girls that are kind of giggling to themselves, I could have sworn there's a picture of him with Jimmy on his desk.
I didn't catch it, but you saw it twice. So.
I don't know if it implies that there was something that had already happened, and that's what they were kind of giggling about,
right?
Or it was a function of the Planet. I just thought, is that a picture of them? I don't know.
Right. Now him having bad relationships is also from the comics.
True.
So,
True.
Him and Lucy Lane. Lucy was terrible in the Silver Age.
It was awful.
But I too am a huge fan of how do you say his last name?
Skyler Gisondo.
Yeah, Skyler Gisondo. I liked him in Santa Clarita Diet. I thought he was great in that. He's great in The Righteous Gemstones.
I haven't seen that. I didn't know he was in that. I
was super excited when he was announced as Jimmy Olsen because I thought, well, this is great. He's a very good actor, and I like the portrayal in the movie. I actually had a moment, and I'll go on the record now. I would fight a Back to the Future reboot tooth and nail, but I have to admit I've come to the conclusion that if they had to do it with somebody,
right,
I'd be okay if it was him.
Right. He's the Michael J. Fox apparent.
Yes, I would be okay with it because I don't know if it's on purpose, but some of his delivery, some of the way that he handles stuff, and just the incredulity that he's found himself in a lot of the roles that he's been in, especially Santa Clarita Diet. I would be okay with it. I'm just going on the record now. I don't want it. I don't need it.
But
I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine with the trilogy that I have. But I would be okay if someone said it was him.
Okay.
Having said that, he was great as Jimmy Olsen. Again, there was a small announcement that there's kicking around the idea of a Jimmy Olsen spinoff show,
right?
As well as a Mr. Terrific.
Yeah, we can save that till the end.
I know. Yeah. I'm just saying. I'm okay with either one of those, but yeah, that would be great. So. And as you said, what's Clifton? What's the thing ready made for Jimmy Olsen if they wanted to do it? What's the thing that's?
Oh, Nick Spencer.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Well, there's also been more recent ones, more recent good ones too. I can't remember who did the most recent Jimmy Olsen series. That's been good.
I just wanted to be a giant. I just wanted to be a giant turtle boy or elastic lad. Either one of those.
It's just a Tuesday for Jimmy.
Yeah,
I want all the Silver Age Jimmy stuff. That's more. I mean, that's my Jimmy Olsen. Generally, is the Silver Age. All the whack. Jimmy's a genie one week. He's a porcupine boy another. He's a werewolf, teen werewolf. All of that stuff. Give me every bit of that Jimmy Olsen stuff that you can, as well as him sort of being the swinging guy at the Planet. So I'm good with that too. So
it's almost a waste of time to bring up, but I've become a watch guy, as you guys know. And the curse is that you watch is I can't watch anything and not pay attention to what's on people's wrists and try and figure it out.
Okay.
And there's some you not really given a whole lot of attention, but a lot of people are wearing watches in this movie.
Okay.
And nice ones. Jimmy's got one that's kind of, they don't show you what it is, but they do make a point to let you see it.
Mm-hmm.
A few spots.
Right.
And it does make me go, is that watch something Is that watch gonna be something?
Yeah,
Is that
Is
right?
that the signal watch? Yeah.
I mean, we didn't. That was one thing I was kind of like, we didn't get the Superman's pal signal watch bit, but again, I've seen it a million times other places.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, not yet.
I mean, I'm just like that shot, that bit with Tessmacher in the alley.
Mm-hmm.
His sleeves are rolled up, and I'm just like, he's not paying attention to it, but he's showing you clearly.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a watch there. Like, I'm not saying anything more about it. Just, but it's absolutely intentional in my opinion.
That's his other trademark apparel besides the bow tie.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which was funny because like 10 years ago, the bow tie could have come back and been cool. That's what I was going to ask you about, Zach. It's because 2010, we're like, oh yeah, like Jimmy can have a bow tie again and it's cool. Like people are wearing bow ties again.
You can have a bow tie and a faux hawk is
right.
what we were saying, right?
Yeah, back like 2010, 15 years ago. That's not the case anymore, right? Have you been following the bow tie fashion?
No, I mean, it's certainly not like, I mean, they had a moment then.
Yeah.
I mean, now, honestly, ties are not even really having a moment. Like, nobody's really wearing ties anymore, which is a shame.
All right.
Ties are nice.
So probably won't get the bow tie for Jimmy.
It's a nice way to punch up a casual outfit for somebody's birthday. Show them that you care. Show them that you're putting some effort in. That was a move I did in my 20s. I started wearing ties to birthday dinners. You guys remember. All right. Let's do Lex.
Mm-hmm.
Frank, go ahead.
Overall, nothing against Nicolas Holt. I thought he was great. My issues with Lex stem from what I said before. I think Lex's motivation as written is kind of all over the place, which we don't normally get. A lot of times we definitely get he's an alien and he's ruining our potential, and I don't like him because of that. Or he's a moral authority and he's ruining my fun, and I don't like that. Or he stopped a fire when we were teenagers and I lost my hair and chemicals seeped into my brain, and I've probably gotten a little angry and a little upset and messed up by that. So therefore, I don't like him.
That's the one I grew up on from Super Friends.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was the Treasury when it reprinted the Superboy issue.
Okay.
Where he's trying with their friends and he's actually trying to cure kryptonite. I think he actually does it. He's like, nope, not give it to you now, jerk. But I like the idea of Lex having a lot of different things, like different things that he's trying to do. Like the idea that Lex would start a war in another country and destabilize a country just so he can have a chance of killing Superman. That makes perfect sense to me as Lex.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that reveal.
I do too. I think that makes that's perfect sense. I think that part of it is, but it was my wife who made a comment that I thought too was, it seems like Lex didn't have a contingency plan. Well, I don't need it to be every single time that Lex is like, hey man, that's cool, but you can't prove I did this, so I'm going to roll on this one. Which is what we got a lot of in like the 80s and 90s that was Lex's bit. Was like, well, that's cool that there was, once these parts leave my factory, I don't know where they go. Right. I don't know what people do with this stuff. And ultimately what happens with Lex in the end of the movie, part of me has an issue with Superman being physical with Lex when Lex isn't wearing some kind of power suit. Because I think it does, I understand the emotion of the moment. And again, it's not his fault what happens to him in the movie because it's it's the
dog.
It's the dog. The dog does it. The dog. It did remind me of Puny God from the Avengers.
Right.
That was what I immediately was like, oh, this is reminiscent of something. I'm like, then I know exactly what this is. But the fact that Lex, is overcome with emotion and gets teary, I didn't really need that. I liked, and again, the biggest thing was I not having a contingency plan. Even if he'd gotten the ending that we got with him, and as soon as he's put in the truck and he knows he's going to Bel Rev, he grins, I would have been fine with the rest of it. Because that would have said to me, oh, he knows where he's going. He knows exactly what he's going to do when he gets there. And then that's the next chapter for whatever we're going to see for Lex.
Right.
But I think Holt was fine.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Really quick.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get Clifton in, but is your problems with it what's on the page you perceive or Holt's performance?
I think it's mostly on the page. Because I think his performance was fine. I just think that, again, I like my Lex to be a little more. Again, I to get ready for Superman. I needed some Superman stuff before we got to the movie. I watched some of the Ruby Spears Superman, which is basically like the Marv Wolfman billionaire take,
right?
Where he's kind of like, he's very much dismissive of Superman. Superman's not, anywhere near his, Superman. He does have moments of like, well, didn't think Superman was going to do that, but he's not. He still manages to slink away and not get caught.
Mm-hmm.
I also like, obviously, the take that we get in the animated series with Clancy Brown of, Superman's beneath him.
I do too.
I always like that bit. I know that one of the books that James Gunn looked at was Birthright, and I'm not again. I've made it very clear. It's one of my least favorite Mark Waid books, and that's just for me. I don't like most of it, but it is one of those things where I understand that the things that were taken from it for the movie are sort of in there, but it gets inverted with the whole message from Krypton. But I going back to Mark Waid, I saw the thing about the message, from Jor-El and Lara being a thing of like, well, when he tells them, oh well, the linguists have verified it's true, and I don't accept a word from Lex Luthor when it comes to Superman. Sorry, I don't. I don't believe for a minute that's what we got is that moment of that actually being it. I think Lex would do anything to discredit Superman if it made it,
sure.
if it served his purpose.
I do too, and I think that people are kind of missing the point of that a little bit. Is that I think it's supposed to be nebulous, and it's like, sure, maybe that's what they said, but
right?
Like, you're not gonna be like, you're gonna trust him,
right?
Like,
Exactly. Yeah, right. Well,
look at the lengths he went through just to like.
Well, I mean, in the after thing, of course, that makes more sense. For the audit, for the people in Metropolis and around the world, if you don't know Lex's deal and you're not like the omniscient reader, you don't know what we know about Lex.
Mm-hmm.
You're very much going to think that Lex is, maybe a decent person. You may have heard rumors about what Lex gets involved with or gets up to, but
right.
I do think it's one of those situations where it does. I don't automatically just believe that was the case. And maybe something we find out later. I don't know. But no, I thought he was good. I just felt like I wanted more of Lex being prepared. And granted, it is their first confrontation, so maybe it was the first time Lex took a loss.
Right.
I don't think it is his first confrontation, but we'll get into that.
Okay. So I that was my only and the other thing was not to bash Gunn for his writing, but the scene with Lex and the tech people reminded me very much of Guardians 2.
Okay.
Where everyone's all the golden people are sitting around,
right?
Yeah,
running the ships against the Milano. It felt like that for me, even though obviously that's not what we're getting. It was a little reminiscent. So I don't know. Again, it was one of the things where I literally just if it just been they put him in the thing, they said they're going to Bel Rev, and he grins because he knows what's at Bel Rev and what he can get his hands into.
Right.
I would have been fine with it. Otherwise,
which is not what we get. Which I just want to be clear. That's not what happens. But that's what you're saying. That's what you wish happened.
Oh, it would have made it that that would have been the bow on it that I would have been like, okay, I can accept everything else because the rest of this really didn't matter because he knows that's his backup. Is he's going to go basically get access to, I don't know, Suicide Squad or the Creature Commandos or whoever is currently at Bel Rev. Right. That to me was what I was like, okay, that's fine. But like you were saying, what were you saying about that? You didn't think it was their first confrontation?
Well, I'll say that quick, and then I want to get Clifton in on.
Okay. They
have met enough for Lex to have come up with a fighting system to battle Superman himself.
Right. Or he certainly watched enough fights.
Yeah. Like he's calling out like 37C, and these are moves that the tech people are using to fight Superman. So that led me to believe I'm like, no, they've met. I thought that, but we can get into that a little bit more too. But there's other stuff we got to hit. But Clifton, I'm curious what you think, because I know you're a big Nicolas Holt fan.
I am, yeah. And performance is good. So getting to writing of Lex, I don't have a hard formed Lex in my mind as much as both Frank and you, Zach. So I'm definitely kind of more open to the different interpretations, like the jealousy and the whininess of a billionaire. Like I find kind of interesting as a take. And So I'm a little more open to that. And I mean, it was like, he's definitely whiny, which you get, like, I feel like Hackman was kind of whiny sometimes.
Right.
And jealous sometimes. So they might have been drawing from, that version a little bit. But yeah, like a whiny, jealous billionaire, like I can buy that.
Right. Right.
I can buy it. And he had like his whole little tech team was interesting though, because now you've got like a whole bunch of people in on this thing with him going along with it. All of his gamers, all of his little gamer team, like his esports team that he had attacking Superman, which again, they reveal that fast. Even before they show us the hammer of Baravia, I think we see that somebody's controlling it.
Right.
When Superman flies back into Metropolis at the very, very beginning of the film. So again, like compressed storytelling, they're not waiting to reveal stuff. We know Lex is doing at least that part of something. We don't know what it is, but we know that hammer of Baravia is part of a Lex scheme right off the bat. So, I mean, I was open to it. I was interested to see where it goes. And it was definitely emotional, more than calculating, or not more than calculating, but when the calculations stopped, the emotions took over.
Right.
And I think that's where you all think there would just be more calculation. I get what you're saying there.
I love the bit that he cries.
Yeah.
I love the bit that he cries. I absolutely, I dig, that part that he's just flailing.
Yeah.
At that part, which is, if I could jump in quick, Cliff.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is where I was talking about the Lois thing, where like, I feel like Gunn and I see things like this movie gave me like 9 out of the 10 things that I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
This applies here for Lex. I agree with you, Frank, that I do think that Lex is more typically, at least the version that I like a lot, is he's more calculating and he sees a lot more things coming. This was the big critique that we had with the Kevin Spacey version from Superman Returns, is that I remember we left that theater and we said, I like a Lex that sees stuff coming.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think that this plot is so busy though, that I can't say that Lex doesn't strategize about a million different things in this movie. And so I do think on some level that we get that. I think that this movie does a lot of interesting stuff with Lex, where it's like, we do get the, like, humanity can't do stuff because you're here take on Lex, which I like. Right. And we also get the, I'm jealous of you, which I like in certain instances. And they don't always like necessarily intersect in the same take. And I like that this gave us a lot of kind of different facets of takes and kind of justified all of them at one time. And I've come to think about the scene where the bad guy fails and he gets put away. And then there's a scene, and then there's a bit where now you see that, like, no, this is all according to plan.
Right. And
I like in a lot of instances, but I have also kind of come to the idea of like, well, then what was this whole thing about? Like, if the plan was that you were gonna that you were gonna fail at this movie because something else is set up,
right?
You know what I mean? There is a silliness that I think that can come off as.
Right, I'm just saying, but I'm just saying that's his whole bit. Like, his whole bit is being, like, one of the most intelligent people on that planet.
Right.
Right? Like, that's it. If you don't have that, what do you have?
And so what I think, and this is me, I'm not necessarily saying that the movie is telling me this, but what I think that we're getting is more of a talented Mr. Ripley Lex. Right? Like he's given cards, and he'll play them, right? And he'll improvise, right? But he's going to play the cards that he's dealt.
Okay.
Right? And that's kind of my thing, is I'm just sort of like, okay, like he's going to Bell Rev, but he's going to think of something there.
Right. Like he'll get out of the next fix after he gets into the fix.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's one of those things, which I agree with you. I think that's a little different from what I customarily take as Lex. But the other thing that's a little different, and here I eat it fine, is the idea that like he's reckless with like advancing science, right? Lex is like one of the smartest people in the DC universe, and that we get here. But out of the mouth of Mr. Terrific, where it's like he found a pocket universe and didn't think about like all this other crap that's like putting
Right.
everybody in danger because of it.
Right.
And I kind of like that idea about Lex, is that he's kind of willing to put caution to the wind
Right.
for this obsession.
I feel like he thinks he has it under control. Like he
Yeah.
assumes he has it under control, but
see, that's the thing, is he should have it under control. That's my issue. Is like,
Okay.
no, if he's if it's going to be his, again, if that's his deal, and that his deal is he is, quite obviously one of the top, the smartest people in the DC universe, not just the world, then he should have some grip on what's going to happen. Right.
Right.
I get that, I get the emotional side of things. I understand that. Again, the idea that the whole jealousy of like, humanity's going to stop. Again, I would argue a smarter take would have been, you're not human. So why would I care what you're going to do? Because obviously I take the Grant Morrison approach, is the idea that Superman's an idea that humanity can never reach, but they should always strive for. So for Lex not to think that way too is kind of limiting to me.
Right. But I think it's kind of there.
I don't know if it is, because again, it's one of those things where if you're telling me that I am jealous of you because I don't have the ability to be born with these abilities, well, no, but you have abilities that Superman doesn't possess.
Right. No. But I think I do think that speech where he's crying does do the lift of like humanity can't advance.
But I don't think
when there's this thing here that's solving the problems, and I like that.
But okay, I would agree with you.
But hang on. But I like the All-Star bit in there, because that's worked into this. The bit in All-Star where Superman's like, Lex,
right,
you could have saved humanity a million times by now if you really wanted to. Right. You didn't, because you're obsessed with me.
Right. And
that's the feeling I get, is like what's standing in the way is not Superman, it's him.
True, but it's that, well, in that instance, Morrison double dips because he does the same speech in 1, 2, 3, 4 with Doom, which is fine. If you're going to borrow from someone, borrow from yourself and do it better. But that is the same exact speech that they give Doom in that book too. Is that basically the reason why you haven't advanced and done all these great things is because you're too busy with Richards. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you to a point. But it's one of those things where I don't. If this is supposed to be their first confrontation, why is Lex? How are we supposed to believe that Lex is obsessed with him? Like, it's not there on the page. It's not there in the performance for me that Lex should be. Again, and the other thing is, I don't believe that Lex looks at Superman as the end, like where evolution stops. Right. Like, I think Lex would be like, no. You're just, the whole thing of you're just a clown. And from the beginning, in an unguarded moment in the fortress, he's just, it's just, you're just a dope in a cape. Right. And I personally would rather have been you're dope in a cape and you really have no authority to tell anyone anything. But here you are screwing up, people's lives and plans because you have, you were given these gifts by being born on this yellow sun. Again, it's one of those things where I hope we have more of a Lex that's a little more on the ball. I just felt like when it got to the point where like Superman figured out how to stop Ultraman / imperfect duplicate, whatever you want to call him. It just seemed like it was almost a moment of no, and he doesn't know what to do, which I don't accept. I'm sorry, I just don't.
I come at it from he's too obsessed with him for them not to have met already. I know, but that's not how it's framed. I mean, before he comes in and flips the desk over, like it does the "Where's the dog" scene. It's so nice to meet you for the first time, Superman. Okay, well, yeah, you've seen the movie another time than I have. So that's my only thing is like I'm not trying to torpedo what you're saying. It's on paper, that's not what you're telling me. Again, I don't know. Like this prequel book, I have no idea if like behind the scenes it's kind of like Untold Tales of Spider-Man, where Norman Osborn's been pulling strings and stuff for most of Peter's life. He just didn't know it. Right. I don't know if it's that kind of situation because I haven't read the book. Like I said, I just literally found out that was a thing that existed today. It could have been, it could have been one of those things where he was, Superman was interfering, and rather than confront him directly, Luthor in standard Luthor style, just using intermediaries or whatever. But this is apparently the first time that they meet, I thought. So, I mean, I guess he could be obsessed with him from afar, but even that's kind of weird. Right. So, It is, and then we should move off because we still got a lot
Yeah.
a lot of other characters in. But it is a more vindictive and cruel and mean Lex than I think that we've gotten in movies.
Yeah. I mean, the scene in the Pocket Universe is definitely one that I was not expecting what we would get.
Yeah. Yeah. And one performance aspect of it, of Nicolas Holt's take that I love. I love the talking like really slow. Because it's everybody else around me is stupid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love that. I love that take.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's a good take too. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's such an interesting performance take. So I again, it's not exactly the Lex that I know and love, but there's enough here that I go like, okay, I recognize him,
right?
And there's aspects of it that I think are promising with it. The fact that it is different.
Oh no, I look forward to more stuff with Lex. I just I just hope for more of Lex that's not. I don't know how to articulate it. We need to move on. So
right.
I don't have any issue with him. It was the writing on this one for me.
Let's hit Tessmacher really quick, and then we'll get into. I promise everybody we will get to Mr. Terrific and we will hit the Justice Gang. But Tessmacher, I'll go quickly. Cool that she's in this movie. She's not a character that I'm ever hungering for. That like, oh, you got to get Tessmacher in there,
right?
People may get mad at me. I'm a little young for I'm not a huge Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner take. That take is not beloved to me. I love Christopher Reeve. I think he's an excellent Superman. I think he really is one of the best. But that movie is not beloved to me. Like my version of that is much more like Batman 89. Right?
Right.
So I will say that, but I think that this is a fun updated version that is very key to some plot points. I'm curious what you guys think.
I liked her. I thought that she was fun. She's played for laughs for most of it, and then it gets kind of deadly serious, and then the reveal was nice. Again, I just watched like most of 78, and it's the same thing in that one where she's played for Valerie Perrine is played for laughs as Miss Tessmacher for most of it. Between her and Ned Beatty as Otis, they're kind of the goofy bits, and again, it's like lots of times where Lex is explaining his plan, and like you said, talking slow, and nobody really gets him because they're not as smart as he is, up until the point that in 78, spoiler for this old movie, she saves Superman because he's first encounter of kryptonite is with Lex, putting it around his neck and then kicking him into their pool. She saves him after she finds out that Lex's missile that's going to be this land grab is going to be hit where her mother lives, and Lex is like, she's like, Lex, my mom lives there, and Lex just looks at his watch and says, shakes his head like, no, she doesn't. So she saves Superman, and then he goes and flies and stops the missile. I thought it was clever. It's a nice misdirect without you wouldn't think that what she's just kind of this vapid, almost influencer type character that's just taking selfies of herself.
Yeah, it was a fun twist on it, and you do have sympathy for her, even as crazy and as vapid as she seems. You realize she's like stuck in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
Yep. Jimmy tries to at arm's length help her apparently, while also kind of using her at the same time. But like you do get sympathy from that scene, especially. Like there's the scene when he meets up with her and she's saying all the stuff about how they can be together, and then just mentions that Lex tortured a dog, and Jimmy's reaction is fantastic.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that was the moment for me again where I was like, if they have to make it, I'll swallow a Back to the Future reboot with this guy, because that Jesus Christ, yeah, that was great, very very funny. But
I mean. I did have a lot of fun with the character, or they had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching the character, and it pays off in the plot. It is like it is a twist on the old Eve Tessmacher from the 70s. Plays it for a different angle. I enjoyed her. The actress is Sarah Sampaio, is the actress that was Eve Tessmacher in this film.
Yeah. It was a nice treat. I did like for me to come out and go like, oh, that was cool that she was in there. Like, yeah. I also did like that they got kind of a hint at the land grab again that they did in 78, and then they did again in 2006, Superman Returns, and it was like, okay, we're gonna kind of do this again, and it's like, nah, sort of, but not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting enough that it in Smallville we have a Tess Mercer,
Right.
Okay.
which was kind of a play, and she's played by she's played by, but she's the mother on. She's actually Skyler's mother on the Righteous Gemstones.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that's where she'd gone to.
Yes, she's the
Cassidy Freeman.
Yeah, she's great. She's really good in the Righteous Gemstones too. But she plays his mother, so it's kind of a circular bit there.
Yeah.
But yeah, enjoyed it.
Yeah, the Tess Mercer in Smallville, she was kind of supposed to be like a mix between Tess Mocker and Mercy from like animated series.
Yeah.
As well as like Lena Luthor too, like the sister.
Yeah, as well as pulling like the sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's kind of a combination of all three of those characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Smallville.
Right.
What did you guys think of the Justice Gang? which is Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, and Hawkgirl, and we'll lump Metamorpho in with this too.
Okay.
I will say they almost all landed for me.
Okay.
Almost.
Okay.
And then some of their parts they come out on top. Once you add into like grading on a curve for me. I wasn't crazy about Guy Gardner, and I just wasn't crazy about Nathan Fillion, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he had a lot of good moments on page. I thought there was a lot of good beats. I'm going from my least to the top, and
Okay.
and a guy he had a lot of good moments on page. It's just I would have preferred somebody else in my taste. It just felt kind of like Nathan Fillion being like it was Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner instead of Guy Gardner.
Right. I didn't think he was annoying enough.
Something just didn't land about it to me.
I'm gonna say something, and this is strictly me saying this.
Right.
I agree with Zach. He was not Guy Gardner annoying enough. And as someone who has experienced Nathan Fillion in person, he can be a bigger jerk. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be. Okay. I'm not casting aspersions. I'm not looking for any heat. I'm just saying, in person, he was not the nicest I've ever experienced with celebrity. Okay. So I know he's got it in him.
Right.
But on paper, he just. I agree with Clifford. I didn't. I love Guy Gardner's character. I love Justice League, the Madison Giffen run. Yeah. With that's some great stuff. I don't think that he was anywhere near as kind of annoying and off-putting as Guy could or should be.
I'll give him credit for fighting for the haircut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That appeared that's kind of come around, is that he's like, if we're gonna do this, let's do this. So, which I think that was awesome, because also you get used to it as you're watching. It doesn't look as silly as when you first see it in the trailer, and you're like, whoa,
right. But I mean,
I agree with you though. I like him fine in things, but I don't know. I always. And I hate it when people can't see the other person that they had in mind for it, but I'm kind of guilty of it in this. And I always saw a Guy as kind of Stifler, Stifler annoying from American Pie. You know what I mean? I always thought that guy would be kind of perfect for it.
Yeah. Yep. I can see that.
And he would look it more physically, I think, just because he's younger and in better shape.
But I mean, I did like the when he can, when Superman gets in his face, I thought that exchange was nice. I thought that worked well.
Yeah.
But I agree that I just didn't feel like he's such a, an absolute D-bag in the comics.
Right.
And that's what I was hoping we were going to get more of.
Okay.
And he just sort of came off a little light for me.
Yeah.
I mean, if you outside the comics, I think the best portrayal of Guy is probably Brave and the Bold.
Sure.
That animated those episodes with him.
Yep.
I think that's probably the best that we've ever gotten.
Okay.
I like that when we see him in the diner or whatever, he's eating cereal.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just kind of goofy and stupid.
Well, you came out, and granted, it's not a cereal restaurant like something chic.
No, it's not. But he's eating Fruity Pebbles, and it's it just looks childish. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, no, that's a good bit. Again, that's a fine bit. I just, like I said, I was not. I wanted more from my Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'll carry that on because like I kind of felt like that about Hawkgirl too. Like what we got was fine, and I think what we got I liked. I just wish she had a little more to do because they definitely had a favorite out of out of that gang.
They sure did.
Right. Yep.
So her for Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl, I think it was good what we saw. I wish we saw more of her. I wish she got a little more set piece to shine in.
And the wings come off.
Yeah.
The wings come off, which is a thing that in our last episode when we were talking about the Peacemaker trailer, I'm like, does she not have wings?
Right.
In that bit? And which I get.
It's certainly easier production.
It's much easier production wise too. Right. And I get it. Like, and also, if you've ever been at a con and walking behind somebody cosplaying with wings, I get it. I get it also. Right. Like if you had a practical thing on too on set, like you could turn around and there's like just a whole shelf knocked over easily. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that was one thing with talking with Tommy about it was that his whole thing was he liked the movie, but it gave him a lot more questions than it gave him answers. He felt, and that was one of the ones was about Hawkgirl. Was like, which Hawkgirl is this?
Right. Yeah, that's not answered.
That's not answered at all. At least not yet. We don't know which
they don't
version.
Even say Thanagarian, right?
True. Right. We don't. As far as I know, we don't really get that mentioned at all. Whether she's Shire or whether she's
did they even say her name? They never even said her name.
Nope. We might find out when we get to Peacemaker. We just don't know yet.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
So
okay, so you're ranking these, Clifton. So Guy at the bottom,
right?
Then Hawkgirl.
Yes.
Where are we next?
If you include Metamorpho, then Metamorpho.
Okay. Who you were also a big fan of.
Who I am
in
a
the
big
books.
fan of. And Anthony Carrigan is the actor portraying him in this. It's a good introduction, like how they're using him, how Lex is using him is good, like is smart and does showcase who Metamorpho is and what he's capable of.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I did like that. He got more to do.
Yeah.
Than Hawkgirl.
Did.
So he had some pivotal pieces. He had some set pieces around him. So I did like him. Anthony Carrigan was good.
What'd you think of the look?
I thought the look was good. I mean, he's got to look weird. Like, they made him a little more creature than sometimes you see him in the comics. It's just like the muscly guy who's bald. Like this made him a little more touch more grotesque, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot than he would often be, because he is kind of like he's a grotesque character,
right?
But still has like a good life.
Right.
Like, in the comics, you'd think his life would be more like, you'd think he would be less happy about his life than he is, but even in this movie, he's got a kid and a wife or girlfriend, either one. Yeah. But we see her in the end. I wonder if that's Stag. I don't know. We'll find out, maybe. But yeah, like I thought it was a good representation of the character. I enjoyed it. I was looking forward to it, and he definitely got some strong story moments.
I thought he looked great. I really loved the look of it. I thought there was some, like fun, inventive stuff where he, is able to mimic the kryptonite.
Right.
Which I liked that too. I think that there was some throwaway line or something like that. Like, oh, we thought like kryptonite wasn't on the planet anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I liked it sort of like the only time we see it is like it's conjured up by Metamorpho here.
Yep.
Which is cool. Yeah. I thought it looked great. We all sort of, hooked up with Tommy this weekend also, and one of the things he said I remember is like we're pretty far down the line of his story.
Yes,
when we meet him here,
very much so. Yeah.
What'd you think, Frank?
I love Metamorpho. I'm a big fan of the character. It's again, he's like a Silver Age staple. He's one of those characters that had a fairly big run in the Silver Age stuff. Pretty much, the Ramona Fradon days of her artwork. That's what I think of when I think of Metamorpho. And then, of course, later on when it's him, he's like Batman the Outsiders and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I love the use of Metamorpho. I thought the Kryptonite bit was awesome. I thought the bit with where he turns himself into a rocket to help Superman escape the black hole or whatever it was, the singularity. Thought that was straight out of the comics. His head floating over top of a cloud of gas. Again, straight out of the comics.
Right.
That was great.
I loved his moment when he's like, I can't make a sun. He's like, but I can make helium and deuterium.
Yeah, right. That, and then, the idea that, he's the comment after they escape the pocket universe, and he's like, this is like, you're so weird. That whole thing about, because Morpho was typically thought of as being, an odd character.
Right.
I like that shot too of him just like when he has his kid just like disappearing into the dark. And I'm like, and in my head I went like, like to be seen in the Metamorpho TV show coming soon.
Sure,
on
right,
HBO
right.
Max.
Yeah. No, I'm all for it. I thought the performance was good. I thought it's heartbreaking when he's like, I didn't do anything. He just shot that guy and I didn't do anything. It's a great, it's a horrible moment, but his performance is really good about, realizing, that he just, he just stood there, sat and watched. But yeah, I agree with Tommy. We are pretty far into it and I'm fine with that. That again, it's just one of those characters like, yeah, there's a guy that's the Element Man. He changes stuff. He can do that.
Okay.
Interesting enough, and this is something we missed. We didn't talk about earlier, and I was thinking about it. Real quick, we were talking about people that were part of like Lex's crew, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were showing the guy with the glasses and the mustache,
right?
Yeah.
And then we get the creature that's that's kind of like the ferryman inside the Pocket Universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna put like all my chips on that being Dabney Donovan.
Who's Dabney Donovan?
He's
Dabney
not?
Donovan. No, he's another scientist that works for Lex, apparently, that was in the Jurgens run of stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought he was gonna be. I thought that guy was gonna end up being Otis.
Oh, okay.
Right.
No,
because I'm like, we're gonna get Otis, right?
No, the other guy was Otis Berg.
And the other guy ended up being Otis. I was like, who's that guy? Yeah.
Which again is a nice callback to Superman 78, if you remember.
Is he the Cadmus scientist then?
Yes, that's who.
Okay.
But
I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah. Dabney Donovan is helps build like design, like he's one of the scientists that in Cadmus that does like Double X and those, like if you've seen Young Justice, a lot of those characters that pop up from Cadmus are a direct thing from Dabney Donovan, and I would have bet serious money that it was him and they were setting stuff up. But no, he's a character named Sidney Happerson, who is a scientist that works for Lex in different iterations of the comic. So I was kind of surprised. And then the fact that the ferryman, what Mr. Handsome is, what it is, apparently isn't a white Martian and isn't anything other than just genetic creature that Lex again just conjured up, much like the kaiju, because he's Lex.
Right.
The only thing I was going to, the other real quick, and then we can go back to talk about the character I think everyone really loved, was the fact that, when we first saw the costume design and we saw the Kingdom Come symbol, I wondered how they might work that in. And it was one of the things, again, I was talking about it with Tommy over the weekend, was the idea that much unlike the main DCU where Superman's like one of the first superheroes and then people sort of have to live up to the way he is, we get the inverse of that here where there are established characters and heroes already. And that not everyone, not to like the boys' degree of like if people get superpowers, they would just be terrible. But people have different morality, different moral sets. Like Guy keeps harping on the fact that he's part of the Green Lantern Corps and that he has to do certain things and there's a vow and blah 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 blah. But the idea that, again, we go back to the idea of Superman handling the kaiju and that he wanted to handle the kaiju with kid gloves and put it in Interplanetary Zoo or whatever, and they're just like, nope, kill it. Go for the eyes, and then Mr. Terrific, my wife was one of the ones who was like, I don't think Mr. Terrific would just kill a kaiju in the middle of a city. And it also reminded me, there's that, which was kind of Kingdom Come-ish, where Superman has to come back and say like, hey, there's a better way to do things. Right. And then the other bit that I had was in Superman, which I've talked about a million times, is Superman 775, What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way. That opens with the Elite taking out a kaiju and basically, not caring about the possible ramifications or casualties that would come up with that happening in the middle of Metropolis. Or I don't think it happens in Metropolis, another city. But again, that in that scene we get to see the difference between the Justice Gang and Superman. Is like Superman's pulling people out of the way, saves a squirrel. Like says there's a better way to do this, that kind of thing, spelling out the differences between them. And I thought that was kind of interesting to really put a stamp on. Nope, we don't have to do this like this. Yeah,
so. That's the feeling I get too, is that like the Justice Gang lacks a moral center.
Yeah, basically.
Right. Yeah. And Mr. Terrific, less so than the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just sort of like, it's the company you keep, right?
True. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Well, that's the thing also about this movie is the idea that when you put Superman into the mix, and he is so, genuine, and he is so, right and steadfast in the way that he is, that has, an effect on other characters around him. And I think we can come back to that when we talk about another character. But the other thing I would say was Hawkgirl. I could take her or leave her. She was all right.
Yeah.
I mean, she was not, the actress, Isabel Mercer was not terrible. I thought she was fine. But Anthony Kerrigan is Metamorpho. I would love to see more Metamorpho stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I don't really have an opinion about Hawkgirl.
No.
Because it's like, I mean, she she was what she was, she comes in and hits stuff. And, she's a punchy character, and that's what there's more to her than that, obviously.
Obviously.
But,
yeah.
this is chapter 1.
Right. Right.
Right. Here we are, and we know we're going to get her at least in another cameo or something like that in Peacemaker. So, I'm taking I'm not judging at this point. I'm just sort of like, okay, like, it's not her movie. Like,
no.
we'll get more.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So let's get to Terrific.
Yes.
So he was your favorite, Clifton? I'm guessing he's ranked 1?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Yes. I mean, he's like more than A+ in grading.
Yeah.
I thought he worked in every scene they gave him. They gave him tons to do. He killed it every time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actor portraying him was Edi Gathegi. And you may have seen him before in X-Men First Class, where he was not served as good material.
Right.
as he got in this one, because he played Darwin, the mutant whose power is to adapt to any situation and dies.
Yeah.
In X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
So he definitely he was served better this time.
Yeah. Yes,
for his
he was.
talents.
He is kind of the one. I'm not surprised because of of the part he's written in the movie, but it is just nice because Mr. Terrific is not a character that a lot of people know, and it is cool to see sort of he's kind of the guy that steals the movie in places.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He has the best fight, I think, in the movie.
James Gunn might think so too, because he gave it the music.
Yes.
He gave it the soundtrack.
Well, yeah, and it's also it is also a little reminiscent of Yondu.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah. No, I saw them talk about it earlier. I was flipping around and stuff, and so I was like, "Oh yeah," he's talking about the fact the interviewer brought up the fact that it is very reminiscent, or at least the fight is of Yondu.
Yeah, Yondu's like whistle hawk arrow.
Yep.
Just the best way I could think of to describe it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Mr. Terrific was great. I did get the question from my wife of well, why wasn't he able to find the code, quick enough to get, she was like, why didn't you say I can't do this as opposed to I can't do this in time because there's too much going on. And, and then I said, well, the thing came up with the fact that usually Mr. Terrific is the third smartest person in DC. And then of course the question, it was quiet for a minute. And then it was, well, who's the other two? And I was like, well, Lex is usually one of them.
Right.
And she went, oh, okay, well that makes sense then.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. But I thought he was great. The possibility of more Mr. Terrific sounds great too. But again, I feel like it is one of those things of the reverse Kingdom Come effect is, Superman's showing you how it can be,
right.
And it's effective. And it's interesting again that, we get the one of the tease pieces at the end is with him and Mr. Terrific, which was fun.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He didn't quite get the city back together, right?
No.
Yeah. I like that part.
Yeah. It's a good bit.
Yeah. It's a good bit. He is the one, I think, that, the whole gang shows up for him, at the end.
Right.
Which is cool. So, he's having the effect on everybody, but he's the one that I feel like is really taking. Like him and Metamorpho are, because he converts Metamorpho completely while being in the cell with him.
Right.
Which another bit, we're jumping around a lot, but another bit, I like when Lex kills that guy, like the guy that runs the food stand.
He tortures a dog too. Did you enjoy that? What? Sorry.
I like I like when he killed, but I like that Superman cries.
Oh, of course.
When he died,
well,
it's a beautiful bit, and I like that moment affects Metamorpho too.
Well, that goes back to the whole thing about that Lois says to him, like, I'm all, basically she's like, I'm all veneer, and basically, and you're like, you think everyone you meet is beautiful. I'm like, that's a great line.
Yeah.
That Superman, and again, the idea that Superman wants to save everybody, right? That's one of the things, the cornerstones of the character. So the idea that he's helpless, and then Metamorpho realizes that he just sat there. It's a great scene, but it's also heartbreaking just because the fact that I was like, that doesn't bother me at all. I'm perfectly fine with the fact that Superman would think this guy that had gave him a falafel and was kind to him and helped him out of the crater, is a pawn in Lex's game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I like that jump into Terrific. I just like that Terrific was just there in all of his glory. Like, he had the T on his face, and and the costume is like right out of the books.
Yeah. Right, the fair play on his sleeves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just like that he was kind of cool, and I like that he's the antithesis to Lex here.
Yeah.
Where I was saying, like, Lex is a little callous with development, with scientific development and stuff for Clifton, like you were saying, or at least he thinks he can control it all.
Right.
And I like that Terrific is sort of like, no, this is dumb and dangerous. Like, why would you do this? So I did dig a lot of the pocket dimension stuff, and I liked it. So he was sort of like the science morality,
right?
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of the thing, and it does some informing for Lex as well there too. I did think that I was like, the trouble is with this movie is like I'm looking at everything, and I think everything is something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm much more of a DC guy than I am a Marvel guy. There's a lot of the MCU that stuff has to be explained to me and everything. I did not read a ton of Marvel growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the Timverse and stuff, I am much more of a DC person. And so I'm looking at that stuff. I'm like, is that a boom tube, or is that a Zeta right? Or is that a Zeta beam? Like, what's going
right?
Right. No, I had the same thoughts. I was like, is that boom tube technology? I was like, or is it Lex technology? I think it's Lex technology. It just kind of looks like boom tube technology.
My daughter thought it was a boom tube.
Yeah,
sure.
It certainly looks like it. It certainly
it does.
It certainly comes across like
It's like, is that a boom tube? I was like, yeah, it probably is, but we don't know. We'll find out later.
Right.
All right. Anything else on the Justice Gang?
Did your ranks match my ranks? If you had to rank the four of them.
I wasn't thinking about ranking them, but yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, now in putting in that order, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
I was just curious. Okay.
Nope. No, I mean, I can't argue with your ranking.
No, in fact, I think, Clifton, I think you and I almost see it exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like top to bottom for everything. I'm like, I agree with you on Guy and two, or just something, not to beat up on him, just something about it. I did like the color green they used for the construct. That is in my notes, believe it or not. I was like, man, they nailed that color green. Like, it just like
right,
bold and alien and weird, and
there's still some good beats. The middle fingers and the fists and that was a good beat. That was a good guy beat. Yeah.
And I do like when Superman has a moment to himself, and he goes into the Stag building, into the lobby, and they follow him in there. The Justice Gang follows him in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like the guy like puts up the shield up on all the windows, so they have like a private moment.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of like, those are the moments of Guy where I'm just like, yeah, he's a dick, but he's not completely stupid to the moment always.
Right.
He's a lot of times, but he'll surprise you from time to time. You disagree?
No. I think there are plenty of times, again, in the comics and other places, where Guy understands not to react with bluster, but sometimes you just can't help it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think in this instance, he understood the moment and did what was the right thing to do, even though he was still getting in Superman's face once they got the blinds up, basically.
All right. So let's get into DCU stuff. What do we think this sets up for? What do we think is coming down the pipeline?
Oh, real quick, I had one more thing real quick.
Sure, okay.
Just the engineer.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I did want to talk about
henchwoman in this.
hench gal.
Yep.
I did like the actress. I thought she was very good as the engineer. I thought she was great.
She's an authority character?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. She's definitely in the authority. So there's a chance but I'll get to why I think something actually was set up.
Okay.
I like the use of her powers, that it was pretty straight out of the comics. I still think that, I would rather they'd gone with a little more comic accurate. But as someone pointed out to me today, there's a movie that comes out in 2 weeks with a woman covered in silver.
Yeah, I had seen someone else make that.
So
comparison.
there's a possibility James Gunn went, ugh, and went, no, we can't. I still wish they would have found some way to make it a little more distinct than just basic black. It was fine.
Yeah.
But no, I liked her role in things. I think everything they gave her to do was fine. What I did take away was, again, this reverse Kingdom Come thing was, well, in this case, it was a situation where she was one way in the movie throughout most of it. We don't see her again after that. Was just the point where, and I think Superman feels this way about everybody, when he says, even after she's just tried to kill him, like, he knows that, she's just like, kill him with the nanites, and he's got the point of like pulling him out and all that stuff. He tells her, it's not too late for you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's an important thing that I don't always think we get with Superman. I think that, again, it could be in the wrong place with the wrong actor. It would have been hokey, but I think he genuinely sells it as no. And the other thing is, normally in the book, in the Authority, she is much more kind of the voice of reason. Like the rest of the characters are much more like, you got Apollo and Midnighter and the Doctor and Hawksmoor and the rest of them, and they're much more, kill first and ask questions later.
Right.
And she's not that way. And I'm hoping that's, again, the Superman, basically the ripple effect of Superman being Superman is going to ripple out with her towards how she's portrayed differently in the Authority.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it does hit me, I think, what that movie will be now. And I think you bring up 775 a lot. What's so funny about Truth, Justice, and the American Way, where he fights the elite.
Right.
I think the Authority may be kind of taking the place of the elite.
They might.
Right, because they are more of a marquee name. You're not going to get an elite movie.
No,
right?
Outside,
that would be a tough sell for anybody.
No, outside of the animated, and really, it doesn't. I mean, without having the Authority first, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right. So that does, and I'm not too familiar with Authority stuff and everything, but I can see that being the case.
Yeah.
Especially what you're saying, where like it's not too late for you, and knowing now that she kind of plays that role in the book. On that team.
Well, the other thing about her character, she in her story, she gets invicted with nanites, on her own without Lex, because it's Wildstorm at that point. It's not they're not in the DC universe.
Right.
But the other thing is, like, her character, oddly enough, collects comics.
Okay.
So she had a run of like pretty much everything Silver Age, I think, is mentioned in one of her like recaps of her origins. So again, you are getting sort of a Superman morality influencing her meta in her own story originally, and now you're getting a much more direct Superman influence of having a different morality that I thought was an interesting idea. I mean, she may still collect comic books in her story, in her background. We just don't know. But that's where I think she gets her morality in the book of being the voice of reason, is from those comics, but it's not that spelled out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas this time it's like, no, she's seen, it doesn't have to be the way it is with like Lex. She could be different, and she can, Superman definitely could have killed her at any point, but he didn't. Yeah.
And really quick about that though too, when we get the reveal of Ultraman,
right?
Which I just enjoy the movie so much that I'll eat this too, even though I feel like I don't really quite know what Ultraman is supposed to be. It feels like it's a little bit of the parallel universe version of Superman. It feels like it's a bit of that.
Oh, yeah.
Feels like it's a bit of Bizarro, while also being like not committing to either side. Also,
nope.
I mean, throw in a little bit of Connor Kent, Superboy in there too. Like it's a lot of pieces.
It's a lot of
pieces of a lot of things that to come up with this.
And the one thing. And I won't be as loud or as obnoxious about it as I was about Man of Steel. But, the way that he deals with him is he lets him go into the black hole.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have seen that critique.
And I was going to raise this question myself.
I have seen that critique where I was just like, did he just kill that guy?
Yeah.
Right.
And we all know no, because we all know that he went to a parallel universe, or he went to the Phantom Zone or something. We all know that he's going to come out of that.
Or he's building a square Earth somewhere out there.
Right. There's gonna be some reveal. So it's not that I don't believe for a second that he killed him.
Well,
but it's the fact that he made the choice,
right?
And that does bother me.
Well, okay, but again, it was one of those things where, like, when I was talking about with Tommy brought up the whole thing of Batman Begins.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
And the idea that, he, much like Batman, sort of like, I'm jetting out of here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave you to your fate. And again, you could argue that he made that decision to let Rach, Ross.
And it bothers me there too.
Well, it can, but it also, what my workaround has always been, there's a Lazarus pit. He ain't dead.
Yes.
So, but in this instance, I agree with you. It was kind of like, oh, well, I guess that's one way to deal with your doppelganger, your imperfect, your imperfect duplicate, your bizarro Ultraman, whatever you are.
The situations are virtually identical in my head, where it's like, great movie. I'm enjoying thoroughly the entire time. Gets to that part and going, oh man, I really wish that part wasn't in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's also, but in both instances, there is a comic booky way out.
Oh, of course.
That we don't really get hinted at in this one. I mean, yes, comic booky Lazarus Pit. It's not really talked about, but there's some like quasi, like maybe it's there, maybe it's not.
Right.
And this one, it's I think this one we will get a more concrete like reversal on it. But it's also, but it's the fact that Superman doesn't believe he will survive it.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it is said that clone is stronger than him.
Right.
So maybe, but again, it's just the fact that he makes a choice. It's not snapping Zod's neck.
Right. No. Oh, no. Not even remotely.
It's not the same.
Stop it. No, it's not.
And from the storytelling, there's like from how it's shot, how it's framed, we're not supposed to dwell on it as this was a death. It was a very comic booky off-screen demise.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Whereas the only thing we're 100% sure of is trapped in a pocket universe.
Yes.
Right.
Apart from that, we didn't see anything else. We saw him get hit by a bus.
Yes.
And then a pocket universe sealed while it was on its way towards a black hole.
Right.
For all we know,
the pocket universe. So,
for all we know, he hit the event horizon of that thing and then got chalky white and started speaking it backwards.
Right.
Phrasing.
I mean, my question, like, it does raise the question, whereas, like, I don't even know if Ultraman was really sentient as far as we can tell in the story.
Right.
Because, I mean, the gamers were controlling him. Like, Lex is telling all the gamers to do the thing, and then he does the thing that the gamers control him to do.
Right.
So it does come across where I was like, I don't even know what this character exactly came across as.
Right. Nope. Right. I agree.
In that combination of the, references we were talking about or the things they could have been playing on.
Yep. He never said me am Ultraman.
Right.
Yeah, there was none of that stuff. There was no hello Superman, hello as he got taken into the black hole.
Right.
There was none of that.
I bet you thought about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he thought about it. I'm sure he's going to that black hole.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had it in his head like, is he going to say hello?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Hello. Yeah. No, I mean, again, I agree. There is some of that, but again, I say at some point we will see that imperfect duplicate again.
Right.
In some version.
Probably.
I would think.
So what are your guys' opinion about the DCU at this point?
And that was a good segue because we could be getting Ultraman back in Bizarro form.
Yep.
Right.
That's something. It's a potential setup. So
absolutely.
You had raised the news that had come out or the rumors that had come out about spin-off shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's one where I saw the headline first and I didn't see like the thumbnails.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I need. I mean, it's kind of like when I heard Penguin and Peacemaker were getting shows. And I was like, I don't know if I need that. And then I saw the two characters in the thumbnail, like in the picture. And it was Mr. Terrific and Jimmy Olsen. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take it.
Right. Sure. Absolutely.
I'll take that.
Yeah. No, I'm on board for both. Either one of those or both of them. I'm on board for it.
I mean, there's plenty more Jimmy stories in Metropolis.
Yep.
And Mr. Terrific was such a good character in this, such a good portrayal by, both of them, both Jimmy and Mr. Terrific had good portrayals. I mean, it's rock solid foundations for more, whatever they want to do with them.
Right.
Right.
I did see Gunn say, because I saw him like one of those press junket things, and somebody was talking about like was kind of making a jokey question, like, is Krypto sort of the center of the DCU?
Right,
like,
I was
no.
going to say that as well. Say that as well.
He's like, no, but he did say though, but the center of the DCU is not who you think it is.
Okay.
And I'm just okay.
It's not going to be like Krypto popping up and everything like C-3PO and R2-D2. Like,
right, yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Movies.
I don't. I feel like Peacemaker may be C-3PO.
Yeah, I was gonna say he might be.
Right.
It might be. That was the thing. I was like, yeah, maybe it is.
But yeah, just the setup with Supergirl and yeah, I was like, oh well, now he's going to that movie. Okay, like I guess we're going with him. We're just traveling with Krypto.
I was hoping we were going to get Supergirl in here.
Yeah.
And we did.
Right.
And it's great.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I will say on that, I mean, I again haven't read the comic that it's potentially based on, that they have since changed the name of, I believe.
Right.
Because when we recorded our previous thing, it was Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Right.
Was the working title of the film, and then like right after we recorded,
but
before we released, they had changed it to just Supergirl, which we said would be a possibility. We did predict it was possible that would happen,
but it did.
Right. So now it's Supergirl.
It leads right into that book.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I'm not too familiar with that material, and so all I knew was that Millie Alcock was cast as Supergirl. And again, I've not seen House of Dragons. I've not seen her other show.
Right.
So I wasn't familiar with her. What is it?
Sirens?
I've not seen that as well.
Yeah.
So I wasn't familiar with anything really going into it. And then 30 seconds sold me on it.
Right.
30 seconds of her getting pounced by a dog and laughing while tipsy.
Yeah.
Sold me on whatever's coming.
This is not a spoiler for the book if anybody wants to seek out Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. But you know what Superman says in that cameo bit is her in the book. Okay. It's like that book finds her, like it's her 21st birthday.
Yep.
She goes to a system with a red sun so she can get drunk.
Yep.
And that's where she is, where like that whole story
takes off.
Starts to unravel. You know, we do know that there's some deviations because of, you know, we said in the last episode in the state of the DC universe and upcoming projects that we know Lobo was in that movie,
right?
Which he's not in the book.
Okay.
I will say so. That's a deviation.
Yep.
Being that we're getting a version of Supergirl, it's kind of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And that's out of James Gunn's mouth. I saw in an interview too, where like she's had a completely different upbringing than Clark.
Right.
Well, they address that, not to give anything away. They address the difference of why she is the way she is in that book. Because I've seen a lot of people like say, well, I don't know that Supergirl.
Yep.
You will. They'll explain to you why she's the way she is.
But I got a prediction.
Go ahead.
Stamp it right now. Mark it right now. She's gonna hook up with Lobo. She's gonna have a drunk hookup with Lobo.
Okay. Ew.
That's my prediction. That's my prediction. We'll see.
The main man. But the other thing about it is that I saw the same thing that James Gunn. I saw the headline, which is, and I think this is important because we didn't get a chance to really talk about it much. Was her upbringing is so different because she wasn't raised by the Kents.
No, she wasn't.
You know, she doesn't have that.
And you're getting more writers, I think, remembering this when they get Supergirl stuff to tackle. But a lot of people forget that she remembers Cal when he's a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Right. She remembers Krypton.
And she remembers Krypton.
Yes. And then she gets to Earth and her little cousin that she was supposed to like look out for is grown up in the Champion of Earth.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah. Krypton to her was an actual real living, breathing place that she has like actual real solid memories of her family and, you know, places she went, you know, and that's different than his experience completely. So again, not to give stuff away in the book.
I'm happy she popped up.
And that's just general Supergirl lore.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of the time now.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. That should be the book that's based on is good. So
and going all the way back to the opening text of the movie.
Yes.
Again, just to read part of it. 3 centuries ago, the first superpowered beings known as metahumans appeared on Earth, ushering in a new era of gods and monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to find out who that was? And who could it have been 300 years ago?
So that would be what?
1725.
1725.
Barbatos.
Maybe. I don't know. It's interesting because DC is in the midst, the comic book side of things is now by Mark Waid, is in a variety of artists is doing the new history of the DC universe. It's supposed to, for the moment, give an idea of an actual timeline of where things are. And the second issue comes out, I think, on the 23rd. There's only been one issue so far. And it starts basically from the beginning of time to end of the Justice Society, I think. I can't remember for sure. But again, it's interesting because, again, I there's so many characters that it could be, but as well as my brain going, there's so many characters that are not, that are way out of that timeline as well.
Right.
Your Vandal Savages, your Immortal Mans.
Vandal Savage is out. I'm thinking of the Young Justice stuff. Vandal Savage is out. Clarion maybe.
Maybe.
But I think worth pointing out that it says 3 centuries ago, metahuman showed up on Earth.
Right.
That doesn't mean that the Guardians are not out there eternally.
Sure, but I mean, but again, if we're getting back to like Hawkgirl, does that mean we don't have Qatar Hall or Carter Hall?
Right.
In ancient Egypt with Teth Adam and Naboo.
Right. Like were like that, was he and Vandal around then and just not known until 725 or 1725.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's certainly a lot of possibilities. Jonah Hex would be later by about 100 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's certainly possibilities.
But it does give you Raish. Raish is in play. Roz.
Race. Yeah.
Yep. I'm trying to think. There was somebody else I just had on the tip of my tongue. I just forgot.
Okay.
JSA's in play.
Sure.
Right? Like,
depending on the member, sure. As again, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but in the Hall of Justice, there is a mural that supposedly takes us from the beginning. Again, it's another timeline. It basically goes around the inside of the building. I only saw Wildcat out of the corner of my eye, and then meant to look a second time to see what I missed, and then I got caught up in the movie and forgot to look.
Right.
But talking with our friend of the show, Devon, after he saw it, he said that he saw the Shining Knight. Oh
yeah, that's a good
sure,
one.
Okay.
That time period,
as well as Wildcat was one of the ones he mentioned was Shining Knight, and the Wildcat wouldn't be, obviously, but the other one. And then he said that an obscure DC superhero known as Gunfire is also somewhere in there, which is just a ridiculous pull. But I mean, there's the Spectre. Like I said, there's Dr. Fate.
Right.
Shade's a good one. That's a great pull. Yeah, definitely. That's a really good pull.
And we know from Creature Commandos that Frankenstein probably goes back to...
Sure. Etrigan?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's true. All those guys, Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah, Jason Blood. But again, it's funny that you mentioned, now that I think about it, when you mentioned Frankenstein, I didn't think about Frankenstein's monster, was the idea that there is a timeline in Creature Commandos.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't allude to all the heroes that exist, but it gives us a timeline between the Bride and Frankenstein. Is he Victor? I can't remember if he's Victor or not.
Right.
But gives a timeline, so I would have to take a look at that now that I thought about it. That where they're basically, trying to kill each other for hundreds of years.
Worth pointing out, too, Flag does show up in this movie.
That's true.
And not many, many times, but he's there.
Yeah.
And the feeling I have is that like he looks very much like he's made peace with the fact that the world is changing.
Kinda. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think he's more, again, where he is in his timeline, he's much more okay with the idea than others.
Right.
I think.
Right.
Because he's currently the director of Argus, right? Because he is taking the place of Amanda Waller.
Mm.
And then I didn't think about this, but I was looking at a video online today talking about Superman stuff. And one of the people in that meeting where Lex is trying to sell them on the idea of Planet Watch, that one of the women in that scene is from Suicide Squad, or the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
The one that I forget the character's name, but she's the one that hits. If you spoiler for the Suicide Squad, she's the one when Amanda Waller is going to kill Idris Elba's character.
Bloodsport.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah, that's okay. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Right.
Gonna kill him in that scene. She's the one that hits Waller in the back of the head with a golf club.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the same character in that scene. I didn't pick up on it at the time.
No, I didn't place that either.
Yeah, I think he has sort of figured out that that's basically the obviously the scale of things and the way things are going to be decided is not the way it was before.
Right.
I also wonder if the fact that his hair, have we heard any reason why he looks different? Like his hair is so gray in Creature Commandos and then it's not in his live appearances.
No, I haven't seen any theories other than what we talked about, where it's like maybe because he ends Creature Commandos not in the best shape.
Okay.
Like maybe he undergoes something that sort of
revitalizes him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puts a spring in his step again.
Right. Could be. But I mean, again, he might also be that was the other thought, was when we were talking about who's the focal point, who's the center of the universe. He's been in a couple things now.
Yeah.
Maybe he's their Nick Fury. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess made peace with is a bad turn of phrase. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's an acceptance to like, well, I know this is the way it is. May not be okay with it.
Right.
But I think he knows, he reads the writing on the wall.
Well, I mean, again, possibly, but it's also interesting. The fact is, from the trailer that we got for Peacemaker, like the first thing he does once this events of Superman happens, it looks like, is he's gonna go after Peacemaker.
Yeah.
At least that's what we're led to believe that.
I think it's hard to take any like grand plans out of this just yet.
Mm-hmm.
For me. But what I do appreciate, I think, is that there is some congruency already that you're seeing. Is it sort of like the things that we know are coming within the next year is Peacemaker is the next thing, which and he pops up in a cameo. Right. So okay. So there's some congruency there. There's some playing with the everything in the same sandbox there.
Right.
Supergirl is the next movie, I believe, because it's wrapped, as far as I know. I'd be surprised if something else is being made in secret. So there she is. Okay, we've met her.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lanterns.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is the show, which is like, okay, so we didn't see the focus of that show, the characters that are going to be the focus of that show, but we at least saw the ring, we saw the constructs, we saw like the core, a member of the core in that. And then, so I do think already that you're getting, okay, like, we've set up the next year, you've had some representative of it popping in.
Right. And I have another quote from James Gunn, or another interview that he gave that pertains to some of the stuff that's coming, because we also know Clayface film is coming after some creative changes along the way. But it's basically James Gunn saying that there's going to be a lot of tonal differences between the projects. So that, this Superman was inspired by a lot of Silver Age Superman, All-Star Superman, but that won't be the case for everything. That's not going to be, like all the movies aren't going to be that. Clayface will be like body horror.
Right.
Because they had been pursuing horror directors, horror writers for it. And so it's important to him that he says that every project has its own stamp on it.
Right.
And it says that this movie will be very different from the R-rated movie we're making, referring to Swamp Thing, a body horror with Clayface. It's very different from the Sergeant Rock movie we're developing. It's very different from Supergirl, which is a space fantasy, he says.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting idea and one that I can get behind. Just comparing it to some MCU, looking at MCU stuff after Phase 3, I think the stuff that's been most successful and has been the most accepted has been the stuff that shook off kind of the house style. It's been the stuff that broke away and lived on its own, kind of like
had a tonal identity. that it was shooting for.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like WandaVision and Loki as like a sci-fi, like hard sci-fi show.
Right.
And WandaVision with all of its, playing with the different aesthetics of different TV. For us, obviously, Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
we all love. And then, I mean, even Thunderbolts is a different tone from a lot of what came before, though it kind of plays on the expectations of what they have given us before, but to subvert those expectations. So like, I would have thought, like, in retrospect, I feel like Marvel should have been more confident to do after phase 3, what James Gunn is setting out to do now with DCU. So I am excited to see,
I agree,
those different tones, those different flavors.
I agree completely. I appreciate it. Like looking at the closest thing to this, which is television. I appreciate it when I'm watching a show of TV and it's a serialized show. So it all like kind of, builds on itself. But I appreciate when each episode kind of has a stamp also that like, this is like weird comparison, like Battlestar.
Right.
We're like, this is a Die Hard episode. Like this is the,
right.
Like this is the kind of noir episode thing. This is
the courtroom drama.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I think that's kind of necessary a little bit. I think that keeps things from running together. And then when stuff runs together, then you start kind of forgetting what takes place when and the order of things. And so I think that identity is important. We got a big slate announced. There's been, some stuff that's dropped, some stuff that's kind of gone from like active development into more of a, the script's not right. We're kind of back to the drawing board on that. But I am curious, like, what you guys think. We don't have an announcement of what Gunn himself is going to tackle personally.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have a sense of that? Do you think it's going to be Superman again, or do you think he's going to get something else?
I feel like he probably will do, if they do a direct Superman sequel. We don't know what they're doing. I feel like he kind of would, because I think he likes to work in arcs.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
Especially after Guardian. I think he's like, I got more story to tell.
Right.
I think he thinks in arcs, in character arcs, especially. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was writing and directing the next Superman movie would be. But yeah, I mean, he can, like, he's in charge of everything. He can give himself whatever he wants, whatever project he wants.
Yep.
Maybe not exactly, but maybe.
I feel like the pressure is going to be kind of on him to do Superman 2, especially since here we are a couple of days removed, and it's doing well so far. First weekend, it's doing really, really well.
Right.
So I think that there may be some pressure on him to do that, but I can also kind of see, like, if you're in charge of the whole shebang, I would get a little like, who do I want to do next? Right? Like, maybe I'll do the Lobo movie. Maybe, right? Like, Green Arrow's coming, and I kind of love that, and I want to do, you know what I mean? Like, really tough to tell. I mean,
I'm excited to see it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah. And Frank, like you were saying, I think, like we got our Superman.
Yes.
We're in good hands there.
Absolutely. For sure.
So.
And then, did anyone notice the Gotham City sign?
No, I did not.
Yeah, okay. All right. there is a nod to lots of people. Yeah. But no, we got that. We've had allusions. We've had an allusion to Gotham City and Batman. There's a very quick sign in a quick road sign to Gotham City in the evacuation scene of Superman.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where the place exists.
Yeah.
I think the only other thing we've heard about it is a quick scene in something else in Creature Commandos, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I don't know. At some point, I think Gunn has got to have to say, I got to give more of this stuff to other people.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can't write everything. Obviously, I think he's come in with a pen to make it all fit. After the words to make it all sort of be cohesive. But I think I could see him do another Superman movie, but I don't know if he's going to do all of them.
He directed all of Peacemaker season 1, right?
I think so.
He wrote it all for sure.
He wrote
Definitely
it
wrote
all.
it
I
all,
know
yeah.
that. I'm wondering if he directed it all. I can't really remember. But that's when I already remembers that like Peacemaker season 2, you know, was sort of going to be like his thing, and then he got in charge of the whole thing, and then he immediately kind of had to like, okay, like, you know, I'm doing some of it, but I'm also kind of like turning that over to other people.
Oh, okay.
You know, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for what's coming.
Yes.
I'm all in so far. Final thoughts on the movie? Just give, you know, yay or nay. How much did you like it? Like, what would you give it a grade?
Oh, okay.
I give it an A.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it an A. Like, you know, we talked about some drawbacks, but then like grading on a curve, there were things that offset them
Yeah.
for me to more than make up for them. So,
Frank?
Same thing. I would say A- B+. That's right around
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved most of it. My knee jerk reaction was nope, loved it. Thought there's so much good stuff in it. You know, the stuff that I don't care for is not enough to outweigh the stuff that I do care for. Yeah, I'm again, the main thing is just the fact that, you know, like we've said again a couple times, is they got Superman right. You know,
Right.
that part was,
And he's got trunks.
that's true. that's a big deal too. But no,
Yeah.
that was my biggest concern, was whether or not they got the voice, the tone for Superman. You know, and I thought all of that stuff was perfect, and that Corenswet was terrific too. I think again, anything they decide to do with him, I'm like, yes, go ahead, do more. So
I'm with you guys. I echo it. I it's in the A- category. You know, I just like, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I like Nicolas Holt a lot too. I feel like that wasn't coming through when we talked about it. I did enjoy his performance a lot.
mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm just curious to see where it's all going to go. So, but I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm all in. So, okay, that's our review of Superman. All right, listeners, be sure to let us know how it is in the comments, or email us at info@letmeknowhowitis.com. We also literally just got on Thread, so if you act fast, you could be our very first follow at letmeknowhowitis, one word. Reminding you that you can find links and examples to everything we talk about on letmeknowhowitis.com, where you go check out all of our past episodes. Just please, however you may be listening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review, and we will see you guys next time.